All right, everybody, welcome back to Remotely Wasted. This is our week 10 college football reaction. I think it's week 10 at least. I'm kind of lost.
It might be week 11.
It might be week 11. It's we're getting down to the end of the season. That's the point. We had some interesting games. We had the Bama upset. We had the whole Tennessee disappointment. We had the Clemson loss to Notre Dame. It was a fun weekend. Things are starting to heat up at the end of the season.
Oh
If it's your
yeah.
first time joining us, hit subscribe. It takes like 2 seconds of your time
Yeah,
and
don't be selfish.
makes a big difference.
Don't be
So
selfish.
yeah, just hit the subscribe button. Don't be stingy with it. Uh, but yeah, normally we start with the top 25, but I just want to get into the Bama game. That's what everybody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to talk about Bama LSU.
Turn your screen sharing on.
Oh yeah, I was wondering why you didn't have it pulled up.
Let me resize my shit because this fucking Zoom is dog water.
Yeah, we got the AP rankings pulled up. Obviously, we know the AP rankings aren't really relevant, but they're the only things we have to go off of at the moment until tomorrow when the rankings come out. So, I mean, yeah, I thought about making like a short little video reacting to the playoff rankings last week. Then I was like, my screen's being weird, so I'm not
Too
gonna
much
do
work.
that. But yeah, I mean that LSU Alabama game. This was my
It
favorite
was
game this whole year. I
epic.
think.
Epic. I'm pretty sure I sprained my ankle from jumping around after the game was over. I sat down and I was like, oh shit. Insane. Brian Kelly is goaded. Man's got balls.
That was the ballsiest call I might have ever seen in my life. I loved it. Like even if they didn't get it, I would have thought it's a great call, and then it paid off.
You
Which
think
I mean,
you think if they didn't go for it and they just went for the one, you think they would have lost?
I think they would have lost. Yeah, I kind of think if they didn't get that, they were gonna. I mean, like if they just kicked a extra point, they probably would have lost because they would have had the ball first to go into the next overtime because it like flips.
Yeah.
So then, like the pressure is like really on them to score, and I don't know if they could do it again.
I mean, yeah, their offense wasn't like cooking. Their defense was playing really well.
Like honestly, this game
Um,
shouldn't have even gone to overtime.
no, I mean, I don't know what the fuck Alabama's deal is this year. It's I've seen a lot of people saying it's like the NIL kind of ruined Alabama's team this year. They're not really playing as a team. It's all individual efforts and stuff like that,
I'm just
which
worried about the NFL getting NIL deals as well,
it makes
probably.
sense. And also like Alabama, this Alabama team this year is not as good as what we've been seeing. Their receivers are very subpar. They're they got a good running back. Bryce Young's playing really well. Their defense is kind of shaky. Their secondary is kind of really bad. Their defensive line and linebacking core is pretty solid, but that's pretty much it. And
They've had a really tough time with mobile quarterbacks as well. We saw it with Hendon Hooker,
yeah,
and then we really saw it on this game with Jaden
Jaden Daniels was
Daniels.
getting after their ass.
He was running all over him. It was really impressive to watch. But yeah, their defense folded. The offense, I mean, Bryce Young struggled early on, but then he had that, of course, that last play where he like escaped like towards the end of the game and threw that touchdown. And I was like, oh, Alabama's winning this one. And then
I was so mad.
luckily LSU came through at the end.
See, that's the type of shit that Bryce Young does, and it's so annoying. It's so frustrating. Like, there's no way that they didn't get that man. There was like six people touched him, and he was like, "Psych."
And then the thing that's annoying about it is like you could tell at this point, like he's starting to get cocky with it. Like he knows he's like, I'm a score here. Like he was like
I'm about it.
smiling and joking around and stuff. Like they're down, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it there.
And he does though. I
And
mean,
the defense, I mean, like he put him in position to win. The defense is really what let him down at the end.
he has done nothing this year really. Like it's not on him. This Alabama like two loss team is not on him. It's the defense. 100%. They got absolutely cooked by Tennessee. They was just running basically four verticals and they couldn't stop it. Uh, LSU, they're not the Tennessee offense, and they couldn't stop LSU.
LSU, this is like such a confusing season because like LSU started so rocky. Like they lost to Florida State, and then they go on to get just destroyed by Tennessee to the point where you're like, nah, LSU isn't like they're terrible. They just got
Hey,
just mopped the floor with by
I,
Tennessee.
I predicted this win.
You
Go
did,
back and
and
check it.
they are LSU is a lot better than I thought they were gonna be, and I think they have a chance to be the first two loss team in the playoffs.
Yep.
I think it's very possible if a couple teams lose ahead of them, which probably will. Like there'll probably be some upsets before the end of the year is done. I could easily see them if they win the SEC. I could easily see them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't remember when I said this, but LSU has been like improving. I was after that FSU loss, they've just improved. Like they did get beat by Tennessee as well. Um, but I mean that checks out. Tennessee is a good team. I mean, other than this weekend, and LSU is just slowly been improving. They have a lot of talent on this team. Their defensive line is really good. I think their defense in general is pretty solid. Jaden Daniels has been slowly improving. Like I think he's definitely the guy now. At the beginning of the year, everybody was like, like there was the wide receivers were beefing with him and stuff. He just didn't look good at the beginning of the year, but now he's cooking. So I'm happy for him.
No, he's a hell of a player. It's really interesting to see LSU. Like I didn't really have that much faith in Brian Kelly. I mean, he didn't. I mean, like he didn't have much of a track record. He had Cincinnati. He did really good at Cincinnati. He goes to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, like yeah, he made a national championship appearance and a couple of playoff appearances. But they usually like Notre Dame pretty much has I wouldn't say a completely easy schedule, but it's one of the easier paths to the playoffs. So him going
Man,
to LSU, I thought he was crazy. I'm like he's going to the SEC and he's proven like this is a good choice for him and this was a good hire for LSU.
Notre Dame is just like I they're in like a weird spot. Like northern teams, it's so hard to recruit players as northern teams. Like outside of Michigan and Ohio State, those are the anomalies. But other than them, like it's so hard to bring the talent that you need to compete with these southern teams. Like the type of people they get are like the same across the board every year. Like they have the offensive line, they got the big tight ends, they got the defense, but they have like no QB, they have no like speed at the receiving core. They'll have a running back occasionally, like Saquon or who's the dude that played for Wisconsin?
I know who you're
Was
talking
it Melvin
about.
Gordon?
Yeah, Melvin Gordon.
And Melvin Gordon was killing at Wisconsin. The same thing. They had the offensive line, they had a running back, no QB, good defense. Um,
Yeah, it's pretty rare for them to get like a big superstar player. I
yeah.
mean, the
So
last time I can remember, like Wisconsin, I remember they had Russell Wilson. That
he
was like
wasn't even
over
a
10 years
superstar in
ago.
college.
He was pretty good though. Like his last year, he was pretty good. A lot of people
Oh, but
were
yeah,
high
he's
on
not like
him.
a highly recruited player coming out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Like he might have been
Well,
like a 3 or 4 star, but like
well, he started out at NC State, so he like transferred to Wisconsin.
yeah.
So at that point, he was already proven, so it was a big deal. But in general, yeah, the North, like they don't
It's
really get superstar
no.
talent. It's
So
rare.
I completely get why Brian Kelly wanted to leave. And Notre Dame's a weird team. Like it's an academic uh religious school. So like if that's not your thing, then that's not your thing. And it's also so hard to recruit these top talent because they don't really give a shit about school. They know they're going to the league. They're they can't really compete on the academic level at these schools to even go to them. Yeah, so I get why he went to LSU. Easier recruiting. You're in the South. LSU is a huge school. They just won a championship a few years ago. I get it.
That's another thing. He did like this isn't a complete rebuild
No, it's not. They have pieces too, which
because
is easy.
Coach O like he didn't lose his job based on performance. He had some off the field stuff going on. I didn't really read full into it, but I know it didn't have anything to do with
I think he was
the
like cheating on
LSU's
his wife and
performance.
shit.
Yeah, like some scandal. So it's not like
I don't know.
LSU just was like so terrible they had to fire Coach O. So
Well,
Brian
and
Kelly is in a good spot.
they were losing a couple games, so I think they was just using that as like a way to get rid of them. Like, oh, you lost a couple games. Like you're not really the thing we want after bringing them a championship, which is crazy.
one of the best teams of all time in college football history. That 2019 LSU team is like a top 10 team
They
all
brought
time.
he brought Joe Burrow, a backup QB, and lead them as also one of the best performances in a season from a college football player. Crazy. Now look at him. What is a Super Bowl? It's such a weird like journey. They're going from backup QB at Ohio State to LSU championship, draft, Super Bowl. Like it's wild. What a
Yeah,
journey. And
he's
that
a
was
great player.
and fucking Coach O was the one that pretty much made it happen.
You think Coach O will ever coach again?
Uh, I think he could. I don't know if he wants to, because I mean, the dude's rich as fuck now, so he's probably just chilling.
I'm about to look him up just in case he is coaching. And I'm like somebody in the comments is like, no, he's actually coaching for.
If he is, I don't know where he's at.
Let's see where Coach O is. He is. Yeah, he's not doing anything right now. I didn't know he was in 2013 the interim head coach for USC, but I mean it makes sense.
That sounds familiar. I kind of remember that, but I don't at the same time.
I think I don't know. I think he loves LSU a lot. I think it'd be really hard for him to want to coach another team after that.
Yeah, LSU is like a dream school.
Like Bob Stoops. Like I can't see him ever trying to coach another college. At least same
I
like
don't see why he doesn't.
certain coaches just don't want to.
I don't see why Bob Stoops don't come back as like some sort of like QB coach assistant to help Venables kind of right the ship a little bit. I think that could help out a lot, especially with recruiting too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bob Stoops definitely is helping out a little bit. Like he coached the bowl game last year when Lincoln left. That was nice. He was helping us recruit, and I'm sure Venables calls him up every now and then. Like, what should I do with like here? What should I do?
He ain't calling Lincoln Riley. Fuck that guy.
Lincoln Riley, man, he's something
tool.
else. He's a great offensive coach, but man, I told him he needs to fire Alex Grinch. They did it again this week and getting really close to losing.
They're gonna get walked by any of these top teams if and when they make the playoffs.
Oh yeah. So we could go to the top 25 now that we talked about the big game. I just that was the elephant in the room. Just needed to get it knocked out to get the rest of the show on the road. So AP rankings, they're not the official rankings, but in the AP we got Florida State at 25. How you feeling seeing Florida State back in?
I'm a little surprised, but not surprised at the same time. I mean, we're 6-3. Looking at some of these teams ahead of us, like we're better than a lot of these teams. That performance against Miami was probably like the best performance I've seen in like 10 years.
Oh yeah, y'all stomped them out.
We beat the dog shit out of them. If you're a Miami fan watching this, fuck your team. I like how they sold their stadium out and then we beat the dog shit out of them at their home. Which is not a home stadium for them.
They thought it was sweet out there. Like we're gonna get Florida State at least. Like our season's a failure, but we're gonna get Florida State.
Oh, they're a 3-loss team. They're not back. Fuck you. We're back. I'm cool with it.
Did you like? I actually was able to catch the final drive of the K-State Texas game, and
I'm sad about that one.
Adrian Martinez fumbled it like 3 times on that drive. In the last one, they Texas got the ball. I was really disappointed. I also the AP they're smoking something, moving Texas all the way to 18. Like I'm so sick of Texas. Like if Texas does anything remotely good, they're like, whoa, jumping them 10 spots.
Yeah, I mean K-State was 13, so I mean I get it, and they were already. I think Texas was. Oh, they weren't ranked last week. I thought they were for some reason.
They were in the real rankings. They were in the college football playoffs. They're like 23.
I wish that was on here.
I bet you could pull them up, but yeah, there we go. Yeah, they're 24. They just have an update. Like they'll do the update tomorrow. So I mean, that's kind of where they were last week.
Yeah, I'm sad about the K-State loss. I thought they were probably going to win that game. They're a good team, but I guess this
the Big 12, enough. Man. The Big 12 is just killing each other off. I hate to see
it. They did. They're all done. There's not one Big 12 team making it.
Yeah, but so, I mean,
except for TCU.
TCU's got the fighting chance, and I think TCU is going to lose. Looking back at all their wins
Uh,
now, I don't think any
who,
of them are ranked wins anymore. I don't
who
think they
they
have a
got?
single current ranked team that's a
Well,
W.
they got Texas next week. If they beat them, they'd be unranked. Baylor's not gonna be ranked. Yeah, Oklahoma State's out. K State is
They're
barely in
at the
there.
end, and yeah, they'll probably fall out.
Kansas, no, they could get back in there. OU, no shot. Yeah, I
So
don't. It doesn't
their
matter
schedule is
though.
not very impressive. I don't see them winning out.
All they got to do is win on their end. So they,
I
they
hope
could win by 1 point every game.
I hope they do. Like I really hope they do. It'd be awesome.
I mean, I think they have a decent shot to like compete with some of these teams. Like their offense is pretty good. I don't think they would win unless something crazy happened. They'd have to pull something out, like a trick play or like force some turnovers, something like that. That's the only way they're beating any of these teams.
I mean, the thing is, the season has been so confusing to me. Like every time you think like
You
this
got it
team is the
locked
real
in.
deal, they like Tennessee this weekend. Like Tennessee was just mopping the floor with everybody, and they really didn't look good at all. But then you look at Georgia, like they had that Missouri game where that was really weird. Ohio State played terrible against Northwestern. Michigan, for the most part, looked good. They had that Maryland struggle. They had another the Iowa game, which that wasn't even really much of a struggle, but they could have played better against Iowa. North Carolina at 15. North Carolina, that Clemson loss really hurts them.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
if they beat them in the ACC championship, it's I don't know. They would still be an ACC champion. So like, I don't know if they would put them in. I don't know.
I mean, they
It'd be
for sure obviously be looking at probably the Orange Bowl, or I don't know if the Orange Bowl's in the playoff cycle this year, but they'll obviously have a New Year's Six bowl if they went out. North Carolina, like I thought they were a team that could possibly make the playoffs, but now with like Clemson pretty much being their ticket in, it's not looking too good for them at the moment.
no, not at all. Hate to see it.
Tulane, that's cool. Tulane at 16. Clemson falling to 12. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
They're not
And
they're not
the
good.
teams that they're above, like, yeah, okay, yeah, we've said it. Clemson sucks. They're not good. Like they don't suck. Let me take that back.
We were so right about Clemson. Like we had
They
been
don't
saying
suck,
they're fraud the
but
whole year though.
they're not good. Their offense is super all over the place. Their defense is suspect as fuck.
Well, see, actually, since we're on Clemson, like there's like I think Dabo, he's a great coach, but he has completely mismanaged the quarterback situation. Like as soon as DJ starts struggling, he wants to put in the freshman, and
Did he do that this week?
he did it this week, and it bit him in the ass because that kid threw one pass and it was a pick six, I think. And then he put DJ back in, and I'm like, bro, quit being wishy washy with your quarterbacks.
Yeah,
It's
let your
just
man ride.
like pick one and stick with them, and quit panicking every time the game's not going good, because now you're in both of their heads now thinking, oh, if I mess up, I'm out of the game. Like they're
Yeah,
like overthinking it. He's completely mismanaged the quarterback situation. He's done an awful job with it this whole season, and it bit him in the ass.
good.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, Clemson is done this season. There's nothing they could do in my eyes to get
They would
themselves back up.
they would need all these teams in front of them to lose at least one game.
I think Clemson could still lose another game. South Carolina isn't that bad, and it is a rivalry game.
They could potentially lose their next three. Like, hear me out, right? So Louisville is not as bad as everybody thinks. They stomped the shit out of Wake Forest. Wake Forest almost beat Clemson. And Louisville's got a really fucking fast quarterback. So that's not an easy dub. Miami, it's Miami. Like, yeah, we did beat the doors off of them.
I think they're gonna stop Miami out.
I think they will too, but Miami does have talent. They have a really good defense. If they can get their fucking quarterback situation figured out, they might be able to do something. But they'd have to have some defensive magic to win that game. So that's more than likely win, but there is a chance that they could lose. And then South Carolina is a rivalry game. They've kind of improved, so that's not going to be an easy win either. And it is at home, so they got 3 home games in a row, which sucks.
Yeah, I could see. I think they will lose at least one of those. I really do. I think yeah, this team is a fraud. They haven't looked good all year. Pretty much all of their big time opponents they struggled against, and then a lot of the opponents that they beat that looked good at the time don't look as good now. I mean, is Florida State in Wake Forest? I think still ranked. Like two of them are still ranked, and they're at the bottom.
Wake Forest is gone.
Wake
It's
Forest
just
isn't even
it's just
there,
it's
so
just us.
it's just Florida State now. That's the only win that even
We're
looks
back,
good.
baby.
And they're at 25, and we actually don't know if they're in the real top 25 when the rankings come out tomorrow.
True.
So I could see Florida State not being in there because I feel like the committee doesn't really like Florida State that much.
They don't.
Just based on some of the history in the past, like the first playoff, like Florida State was undefeated the whole year, and I know there was like a strong consideration to put like TCU or Baylor above undefeated Florida State. Like that was like a serious conversation they were having, which was weird.
Yeah, and then we got just absolutely shit on. So
Yep. Yeah, Mariota. It
I
looks
think
like
we could have won that game. I don't know what the fuck we were doing. That was a bad performance.
that was a weird playoff. One thing I was gonna mention was with North Carolina. So I saw this post that showed the first playoff that they had where Ohio State won. Ohio State was initially ranked 16 when the committee put out their first rankings. So it is possible for a team to climb from that area and
Yeah.
win the whole thing. It's happened before. So if North Carolina can get a few lucky breaks,
Well,
they
yeah. I
could
mean,
get in there.
a lot of these teams still play each other. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
USC, UCLA, and Oregon, like they're
they're
all probably
all
going to take
still
each other out.
yeah. And then Michigan and Ohio State are gonna play. So North Carolina have one loss right along with them. Who the fuck did they lose to? I can't remember. Notre Dame. Okay, so that Notre
Yeah, no,
Dame
Notre
loss,
Dame's looking pretty good now.
it's turning out not to be too bad because if they can start climbing, uh, who do they have the rest of the year? Oh, yeah, easy dub. So, I mean, if USC still undefeated when Notre Dame plays them and Notre Dame might win, that'll just push North Carolina up even further.
That would be such a
That'd be
great
ideal for them.
because that one aspect of it, you're knocking USC out of North Carolina's way, and then you're also boosting their schedule.
Yeah. So North
But
Carolina needs USC to kind of be not undefeated, but not have another loss by the time Notre Dame hopefully beats them.
yeah, they need to look good,
But
and Notre Dame needs to beat them.
but then everybody like, oh, we're gonna put Notre Dame above North Carolina because they just took down fucking 8th ranked USC.
Well, I mean, see, Notre Dame is one of those schools like Texas where like if they even do something a little good, like I don't even think Notre Dame was ranked before this week, and
No, they weren't
they're at 20. I
with
don't think
three
the I don't think the
losses.
I don't think the committee will have them that high. I think the
I mean,
committee will have them at like 24.
I'm for it. They did take down with the 5th ranked Clemson, 5th or 6th. So I get it. I'm cool with it. I completely understand. I do hate to see them above us at also 3 losses, and we've beat the 7th ranked LSU team. So suck my nuts.
Yeah, I mean, this whole like I'm really really curious to see what the committee does tomorrow
Yeah,
because like there's a lot going on. I think Bama might actually fall out further than the AP has them. Um,
they should. I think. Hold on.
I think
I
Ole
think I
Miss. Should,
put.
I think Ole Miss should be above them.
I think I'd put Utah above them too.
Yeah, I mean Utah's losses
I'd
weren't that
I'd
bad.
put North Carolina above them, and that's about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not going too crazy with it. Alabama's still a really good team.
It's
Don't get
still
it twisted.
Alabama.
I know people are talking like the dynasty's over. Like y'all
I
are
don't think
so
so.
quick. Like it's not over. Y'all are
No.
just like you want it to be over. We all do, but it's not over.
Unfortunately, they'll probably still be ranked number 1 to start next year, like the usual, which blows my mind.
Like I hate how like ESPN, like in particular, like a lot of the people on there just like should Nick Saban be fired? Like just
No,
stupid stuff just so they have something to talk about. Like Nick Saban's the best coach ever in college football.
if Nick Saban with 2
And
losses should be fired, then Brian Kelly with 2 losses, you might as well fire him. Fucking Utah's coach, fire him. James Franklin, 100% fire him. Texas Sarkeesian, see ya, bud. Notre Dame's coach, fucking Marcus Freeman, see ya. I don't know who K State's coach is, 100% gone. Norvell, sorry, bud. We're bringing Dion in. Like, Come on, get the fuck out of here. Nick Saban is not getting fired.
Well,
No, 0% chance. Like -% chance. That man will leave the team when he wants to leave. Like he's unfireable.
yeah, no, you can't fire that man. And since we're talking about coaches and everything, this is another hot topic. We might as well just get it out of the way. The Auburn head coaching positions open. I don't think it's people
It's not a
acting
very
like it's
lucrative
that's what I'm
spot.
saying. It's not like a USC or a Miami or Notre Dame or any of the ones that were just recently open. It's
I mean,
not
they
that big.
they do have like a good recruiting chance. Like Auburn is able to pull a lot of like highly Southern talent in. Like that's completely still on the board. They still can. It's just it seems like their coaches here lately they're not given the time that they need. So like I wouldn't want to go to Auburn after seeing Brian Harsin. I think this was his second year,
Yeah, they're
and then
very
gone.
impatient.
So I get that they want to win now and they don't want to see the rest of the SEC winning without them. I get it, but it's you can't you're not gonna make your spot look any more lucrative by cutting your coaches in 2 years.
It's like it's like it could be a good position. Like they have won a national championship with Cam Newton.
They'd have to bring the
They
right guy
almost
in.
won against Florida State until that last drive. They were looking good in that. They've made appearances like in the national championship, but they're not like especially with Oklahoma and Texas also joining the conference. Like there's only so much room at the top of the SEC, and if you're a coach like Dion, obviously is like he's the hot topic for any position
Yeah,
opening. If I'm Dion, I'm not going to Auburn. Like I would take a big coaching job, but not Auburn. Like
absolutely not.
what he's doing in Jackson State is like the most special thing I think going on in college football, and like for him to leave that for Auburn, I just don't see it happening. Same thing with Hugh Freeze at Liberty. Like he's a big name. Why would he leave Liberty for Auburn? Like
I
it's kind of
wouldn't.
silly.
Honestly, I would stay because at Liberty you can go undefeated and make the playoff when it moves to 12. Like they're sitting at 19 with one loss. If they were undefeated, they'd probably be up about 13. So
So yeah, there's no reason for him to jump to Auburn. So
no,
now that we got those two guys out of realistic coaching candidates, do you think there's anybody that's currently employed that would leave their current job?
I think they was targeting Oregon's coach. What the fuck's that dude's
Dan
name?
Lanning.
Yeah, Dan Lanning. But I don't know why he would want to leave either. That'd be kind of dumb.
It's his first year at Oregon.
Unless, because I think Bo Nix is a senior. So unless they're going to be losing Bo Nix and he's like, all right, we got nobody fucking lined up behind him and we're going to be ass next year. Like, so if he wants to, have a shitty next year potentially, but I don't know if that's the case or not. I said I wouldn't leave Oregon. Oregon has so much better everything: facilities, stadium,
The Nike
culture,
stuff, like
fans. Like that shit's sold out like all the time. Even when they're kind of losing, they're still sold out. Maybe not sold out, but there's still a lot of fucking fans there. And it's such a cool school. Like if I didn't hate Oregon, I would like Oregon. They're cool.
no, I mean, there's a lot to like about Oregon. Like, if you're a head coach, like that's one of the top positions you could possibly get.
Yeah.
And it's his first year, and there's a good shot Oregon makes a move to probably the Big Ten. We don't know for sure. We'll see how all that shakes out, but they could probably make a move to a bigger conference. So why leave a big school like that to go to Auburn? I don't see him doing it. I feel like it would have to
No.
be I've seen some stupid rumors like Mike Gundy, like he would never leave for Auburn.
I would.
Oklahoma State for Auburn?
Yeah.
Nah, he wouldn't leave his alma mater for Auburn. Like I would
I
do it
would.
for like Florida or somewhere else in the SEC, but no, not Auburn.
Oklahoma State can't get it done. They can't get their recruits. They can't recruit defense. Like it's not working. They historically they cannot have a defense. They had a defense last year. Didn't fucking do shit.
Oh no, he'll never win a championship at Oklahoma State.
That's why I would go to Auburn.
But I don't think that's the job he'd leave for. I do think he could be swayed to leave. I just don't think Auburn's the team that would do it.
Yeah, probably not. But if I was him, I'd be like, SEC school, better recruits than we get, an actual defense. They're a quarterback away from kind of competing.
A good name. Knowles, Ohio State's defense coordinator.
Jim Knowles.
That was at Oklahoma State last year.
Yeah, he's good.
He's done good pretty much everywhere he's been. He'd be a great. He's like primed for a head coaching position. Like he's put
Yeah.
himself to where he's a high candidate. I don't know if he's ready to make that big of a jump yet to a school of that size, but he'd be a guy to look at.
I'm Auburn.
Uh,
I'm calling like Pete Carroll. What's up, dude?
I mean he might be bored of the NFL at this point. Maybe he's done.
I don't know. I mean, they're playing pretty well this year, so
Lane Kiffin's been a big name. I wouldn't like. I feel like it's a
I wouldn't
lateral move.
leave. I wouldn't leave Ole Miss for Auburn, no, because he's already settled. You know, they're playing well. They got one loss. Like they could still make the playoff potentially.
It's a lateral move. It's like it's not like a
I think it's like one step
up.
down.
Like yeah, it's not that big of a. Like,
At
it's not
least right
yet.
now. At least right now, the Auburn brand is bigger than Ole Miss brand, but like the way that they've been going, and the way that their fans and everybody's treated the people that are coaching there, like it's not a desirable spot that I would step down from Ole Miss to.
Well, and Ole Miss like has the potential to be one of the biggest brands in college football. They have the history with like the Mannings. They got Lane
Yeah.
Kiffin there. Like they've been on the rise. They've had good seasons in the past. They've upset Bama a few times. They're a good school. So I
What
don't think he
about
would leave for that.
what about Mike Leach from Mississippi State?
I could see that. I could see. I also kind of think it's a lateral move almost, but I think actually it's Auburn's a step up from Mississippi State as a brand program. Like people aren't really like looking at Mississippi State like that.
I'd go to Auburn over Mississippi State if I was an
Oh,
athlete,
for sure.
unless I'm
I,
from Mississippi. But
I think Mike Leach could actually take that. I think he might be interested, and I think it'd be a
I
good
don't know.
hire. Mike Leach has actually been pretty good everywhere he's been. Like he had some controversy, I believe, at Texas Tech, and that's why he ended up getting fired from there, and it kind of put a stain on his name. But he built himself back up, I believe, at Washington State,
Yeah,
and he's doing pretty good at Mississippi State. I saw Arkansas's coach was kind of a candidate they're looking at. I think I would stay at Arkansas if I was him. I think Arkansas. I think they get good recruits. I think they if they could just put a really solid team together, especially on defense,
yeah.
I think they could be really good. I don't think it's worth leaving. I don't need like who do you think is going to be the Auburn coach? Like, do you have any?
I got nothing. There's no telling. They might not even hire anybody until the offseason.
Oh yeah, no, it'll definitely probably be at the end of the season. I don't think Matt Rule would go there. I think Matt Rule is probably gonna go to like either
Nebraska.
Nebraska or Colorado or a school like that. I don't see him wanting to go to the SEC. So yeah, I mean, I really don't know where they're at with that. I don't know who would take it. I don't know if there's
They,
anybody.
they might just whoever the interim is, they might just be rock with that dude until the end of next year.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that we'll readdress this when more rumors and stuff come up. But yeah, Dion is not going there. I know that's what everybody's thinking. He's not going to Auburn. It's not happening.
No chance. All right. Well, I guess we'll dive into the top 10 then.
All right. So UCLA should definitely be above USC. That's stupid.
I agree. They beat them. I don't know how they're under them.
Well, they haven't played yet, but
Wait, no, they didn't beat them. That's right.
but USC lost to Utah and UCLA lost to Oregon and UCLA beat Utah. So it really makes almost no sense at all for
Yeah.
UCLA to be under USC other than it's just like brand favoritism essentially.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. That's the only reason Clemson was ranked so high last week.
Yeah, it's a bias on the brand. USC, I mean, they have a great offense. Caleb Williams is playing his ass off. I think he could win the Heisman this year, especially after Tennessee taking a loss. Like I think it opened up the race a little bit more, which we'll get into that. But I think Caleb he's playing his ass off. I think he's thrown one interception this whole year.
We'll see. What do you think about LSU sitting at 7?
That's exactly probably where I'd have them. I definitely think Oregon, and everybody else above Oregon should be above LSU at the moment. Maybe they could be behind USC and UCLA, but really after that win against Bama, I think 7 is where they should be.
I'm for it. I guess we might as well just do our personal top 6.
All right, we'll do the same thing we've been doing. We both know who our number ones is Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 2 is where things could get interesting. I got Michigan.
I also got Michigan.
3, Ohio State.
Yep.
4, I got TCU.
Yep.
5, I got Tennessee.
Yep.
6, I got Oregon. So we have the exact same as the A people as well.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Michigan has looked better this year over Ohio State. That's the only switch that should be made.
Yeah, actually, yeah, they have Ohio State above Michigan, but Michigan to me has looked more complete. They haven't struggled like Ohio State's had like at this point 3 games where they've struggled.
They should have lost.
Michigan's really only had 1.
Northwestern should have if they have any fucking semblance of a real offense. Like those 2 teams fucking suck. That just makes me so mad. How are you a football team with no offense? Like, what are you doing?
Northwestern,
you might as well cancel your team.
They played phenomenal on defense, and that offense couldn't do. And granted, look, I will say the weather was
Ohio State's
terrible.
good defense was decent.
The weather is also terrible. You could not throw the ball like that game.
Well, the first drive they ran all over them, and then after that, all they wanted to do was run it up the middle.
Well, I feel like they showed Ohio State all their cards on that one drive, and then Knowles is a smart defensive coordinator, so he's like, "All right, I know exactly what we're doing the rest of the game."
But stop. It'd be like 3 runs up the middle. Like fucking run it outside or something. Like don't they know it's all you're doing is running it up the middle. That's all you're doing. That's so easy to stop it. That's the only fucking aspect of your game is up the middle runs. Like do anything else. Anything. Their quarterback was running his ass off. Run a fucking option. Do a read option. Do a little pitch. Do something. A little trick play. I don't know.
They didn't really have much to lose. Like they could have just ran anything, and if it failed, it would have been the same result. But I do understand why they were just running it up the middle, because like at that point, like strategically, you're not going to be able to beat Ohio State at that point. Your best bet is to win physically, which they just couldn't do. The athletes of Ohio State they're better, stronger, faster. Northwestern's athletes were never going to overpower Ohio State's athletes. So yeah, like you said, a trick play probably would have worked better just because there's more of a surprise factor.
So much, and they didn't throw it one fucking time at a Wildcat. Like, at least try. Like, fuck. Maybe the dude can't throw, but their fucking team, their safeties were pushed so far up. The linebackers are blitzing every fucking play. Try it.
That was the most fired up the players of Northwestern have probably been all season. That was the game. That could have done so much for that program, because you know that a lot of those guys are going to enter the transfer portal at the end of the season.
Probably.
With them just only winning one, like all their best guys are gone.
I mean, it was a good game nonetheless. I enjoyed it. The weather was cool. It was a very just interesting game. Terrible performances on both sides, though. So that's why I had Michigan over Ohio State.
So we'll talk about it. You know, Georgia, they put it on Tennessee. Did you hear about like all the Tennessee fans getting Stetson Bennett's phone number the night before?
Yeah,
like, calling him the whole night. Then he scored that touchdown and did the phone celebration.
That dude's a dog, man. I like him. He's got it. This shit's great. I'm still mad. Tennessee cost me $755.
So
I thought that was I thought that was a guaranteed win. I was like, Tennessee's winning this game. The way that they've looked, like, without a shadow of a doubt, I thought Tennessee was going to win. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Tennessee, like, it wasn't that bad. Like, when you really look at it, it could have been a lot worse.
Our offense was horrendous.
I think a lot of it just had to do with their nerves. They were nervous in that environment. They weren't prepared. I think, like, had that game been in Knoxville, I think Tennessee probably would have beat them convincingly. But, you know, they're not built for big games like this yet, out on the road at least. Oh, well, that shit, they won in Death Valley, didn't they? Or was that in Tennessee?
It was in Death Valley.
So I mean,
but LSU was. I don't even. Was that game sold out? Like,
probably wasn't.
I don't know. Was it as loud as it was when they had Bama in there? Probably not.
And it was a daytime game, which nighttime games in Death Valley like have more of a reputation for being tougher games. Plus, like this game, this was the biggest game of all of those players' lives at Tennessee. Like that, this was the most hyped up game of the entire season up to this point.
Yeah.
Like Tennessee, Georgia, that's all anybody's talking about the whole week. Like to them, it's like as big as the Super Bowl probably at that point.
This was their championship of the year.
And Tennessee could work their way back in, but their road is tough. They're gonna need some losses.
And they're set at 5. Like I still think they make they're making the SEC championship.
No, they're in the same division as Georgia.
Are they?
I believe so. I mean, we could double check because I don't want to look like a dumbass, but let's see.
What am I looking for here?
SEC standings.
Yeah,
they're in the same one.
They would need Georgia to lose, I guess. Who the fuck does Georgia have left? Ain't looking good.
Probably winning all of those.
I think Mississippi State.
They could lose in the
only one
SEC championship though. I do think they could easily lose in the SEC championship.
Well, so if they lose in the SEC championship, what do you think?
So this is where it's tough because I think so first off, I think Tennessee. If let's say like tomorrow they unveil the rankings and Tennessee sitting at 5, Michigan and Ohio State are going to play each other. One of them is probably getting kicked out of the top 4. Tennessee would probably slide up into that spot if they have them at 5.
I would put Tennessee over the one loss Michigan or Ohio State team.
So I think they will get back in, but then this is when it gets interesting. Let's say LSU wins out and they win the SEC and they beat Georgia. LSU
Georgia's in over Tennessee because they beat them.
Yeah, so I mean at that point Tennessee's getting knocked out. LSU's probably getting moved in. Georgia's probably sitting at rank 3 or so. LSU's probably rank 4.
And then you got a one-loss Pac-12 championship and champion in Oregon sitting there at 6, more than likely. Or 5. Like
so the winner of Michigan and Ohio State, I don't think they're gonna lose either one of them before they get to that game. That team,
why not?
In the event that Georgia loses, they're gonna be the number 1 team going into the playoffs.
I don't know. Here's how I see it shaking out. I think Georgia beats LSU. So that's LSU's done. So Georgia's be locked in playoffs number 1. I think Michigan beats Ohio State. Michigan be locked number 2. Ohio State's out. So we got Georgia, Michigan. I think TCU is going to win out, so they'd be 3. And then it's a toss-up of Tennessee, Oregon. Because I think Oregon's going to win the Pac-12. I think Oregon as the one-loss Pac-12 champion would get in over Tennessee, and it'll be a rematch: Georgia, Oregon, Michigan, TCU.
So, I don't think TCU is going to win out. That's where I differentiate. I think they're going to lose to Texas this weekend. Actually,
very, very good chance, but
and I think if TCU loses one, they're not.
No way.
I think UCLA beats USC, which makes the Pac-12 championship. Oregon versus UCLA. If Oregon wins that, they're in. If UCLA wins that, I think they could be left out. I think that's a strong possibility. I think they should get in if they beat Oregon, redeeming their one loss. But they're gonna have some competition with Tennessee up there. So who do you have winning the Michigan Ohio State? Michigan?
Yeah.
That's who I think will win that game. So Georgia and Michigan, we agree on, is probably going to be 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Because I realistically, I think Georgia probably wins out the whole season.
They'll probably win the championship too, realistically.
Yeah. So we got Georgia, Michigan, and then you had TCU at 3.
Yeah.
See, this is where it gets weird for me. I think if Oregon wins the Pac-12, they'd be sitting at 3. And then I think Tennessee gets in at 4. Like I really find it hard to see Tennessee not getting in. They have a good resume. Like Tennessee
needs TCU to lose.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Tennessee does have a good resume. They beat Alabama and LSU.
If TCU doesn't lose, then I don't think Tennessee gets in.
Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of ways for Tennessee to get left out.
But it's crazy. Tennessee and Oregon both lost to Georgia, so their only losses to the number 1 team, and they're sitting there at probably 5 and 6.
I would love to see Georgia get upset though, just to cause the chaos that will ensue with Georgia losing.
I would like it for it to be, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, Oregon, or something like that. Final top like playoff. That'd be cool.
Or like even a two-loss LSU. I think it'll be cool at this point.
I'm fine with it.
I'm pretty much cool with anything. Like so, like I don't want USC to get in. Um, but anything besides like USC that's not Georgia or Ohio State, I would love to see at this point.
I don't want Ohio State to win. I don't think I could handle it. I hate Ohio State fans. They're terrible. They think their team is the second coming of Christ, and then they make the playoffs and then they get embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Ohio State. So I mean, like realistically, there's not that many players for the playoffs left. Like, I would say North Carolina is the only team sitting outside of the top 10, or Ole Miss as well could probably sneak their way in, but that's probably it.
Yeah, pretty much. Watch Texas beat TCU. They jump up to like 8. I don't know. Honestly, if Texas does beat TCU, I think they slide them in right there behind like Bama at like 11.
Yeah, I think so as well. They
Which is wild.
they love Texas. So yeah, Texas. I don't think Texas will move up as high for the committee's rankings. I think they'll probably be sitting more at like 20, maybe 21. Oh, but they beat Kansas State, who's ranked 13. So yeah, they might be at 18. They might be. And then yeah, if they beat TCU, they're probably moving up another 8
Who
spots.
does TCU have or Texas have? Anybody else good? Kansas. Too bad Kansas isn't. Because if they beat TCU 7 and if Kansas was still like good and undefeated, Texas could be the first like 3-loss team to make the playoff. Which would be wild.
Texas is like, I feel like Texas is making a New Year's Six bowl, like no matter what happens.
Yeah, I can see it.
So like,
they're a good
Texas,
team. They're a good team.
I think they're a little overrated. Like they're probably a year or two away. But it is what it is. It's cool, I guess. To like Texas is back. It's interesting.
It's good for the football.
It's nice to see like some brands that have been out for a while come back in. I'll be tired of them in a few years, I'm sure, but it's nice to see them back in.
100%. Honestly, if like Michigan or TCU or Tennessee or Oregon started like a dynasty and they started winning, I don't know if I would hate it.
Well, I'm already tired of Georgia. Like I'm already tired of Georgia.
Yeah, I get they got one more and then I'm over it. They can have their back-to-back and then they can fuck off.
Tennessee, I don't see myself getting like that tired of them.
They're a cool team. I like Josh Heupel too. He's a cool coach. I don't like Kirby Smart. He's good. I don't like him.
Michigan, I wouldn't be that mad about.
Fucking old Harbaugh. There's someone firing him too, which is crazy. The fans, like, I think last year were like, we got to get rid of them. Now look at them. Fucking idiots.
Michigan, like, they're one of these teams where they have, like, this undeserving, like, expectation. Like, they should be national champions every year when, like, Michigan doesn't have that type of history, really. Like,
Michigan's one of the best teams of all time.
I mean, they are, but
and shit like that.
But, like, they don't go to the national championship very often. It's been a long...
I don't even know the last...
98 or 99 was probably last year Michigan won. It was when they had Tom Brady, I believe.
Let's find out.
Yeah, they definitely have not won in the 2000s. Yeah, they didn't win once in the 2000s. Ever since they lost to Appalachian State, it's been rough until like last year.
They did make the playoff last.
Yeah, they got kind of washed.
Their last championship was 97.
Yeah, it's been almost as long as we've been alive.
I don't know if they've made it to a championship since then. I can't think of.
I don't think they have. I don't think they have. Maybe once, like in the early 2000s.
I don't know. It's not telling me appearances. I typed in appearances. That's all I want. Google.
So my point being, like, Michigan fans need to lower their expectations a little bit. Like, it's almost the equivalent of like Nebraska fans thinking they need to be in like the national championship every year. Like, you guys have not been good in a very long time. You all have a great history, but
Nebraska's a doormat school apparently.
I would love to see Nebraska back. That's a team I want to see back. I really, really want to see them back. I don't think it'll happen, but
I
I
think
hope
their
so.
fans definitely deserve it. They sell out like all of their games.
They got a great fan base. They got a great history. They should have never left the Big 12. That's where they ruined themselves. Got a little too greedy.
I thought the fucking Big Ten was gonna be easy.
Nah, they ain't
Psych. They
even.
getting their ass whooped.
They haven't done anything.
They've been a bottom feeder. I hate to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That was our rankings. We didn't really
Nothing too crazy. It's all kind of set in stone almost. There's
and honestly, like I don't even think we need to. I feel like what we have is what I predict the committee to do tomorrow.
we got the first three correct last week.
Yeah, we did pretty good last week. So
I'll take it.
you got a player of the week.
I do.
Okay.
This man is cooking. He's going crazy. Not necessarily with his arm, but this man's running like a demon. Yeah, it's Colorado, so it's not like a marquee win. I probably could have picked, Stetson Bennett or let's see who else had a good big game. There was nobody that really like stood out. So I was like, oh, Bo Nix, he had 5 total touchdowns. So he had 2 passing, 88.9 QBR, threw for 274. He only missed 4 passes. And then he ran for 2 more touchdowns.
Yeah, he's having a phenomenal season.
He had 4. Oh no, he caught a touchdown too. So he has 2 passing, 2 rushing, and a receiving touchdown. So he had 5 on the day.
I think this might be part of the reason Brian Harsin got fired because he had Bo Nix last year. And
Now
then
look at him.
now they're looking at him like, how did you have this guy and we weren't like
weren't
a
slaying
top 10
out.
team?
Yeah, he's going crazy this year. So I wonder what his total rushing yards are. Let's go to stats. So this man's got 457 on the ground, almost 2,500 in the air. He's got 22 passing touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns. So he's got 35 there and a receiving. So he's got 36 total touchdowns. This is not accurate.
He's definitely going to be in New York. I don't see him not making it.
He's climbing up there, and then if they keep winning, I don't see why he doesn't have a very good shot at winning it. It's his rushing stats. That's what's carrying him up there. Like he's not passing crazy. He's running all over everybody. Nobody else in the Heisman rankings is really running like he is.
He's doing it all right now.
And he's still like semi competing with his passing stats. So
they're not bad. And like the QBR is really impressive, 6th in the nation.
Yeah.
14th is pretty good for touchdowns. Like that's not a bad spot for him. Plus he's on a winning team that's doing really well. Only lost to the number 1 team in the country. So, yeah. I mean, he was a great player. I don't think anybody quite had the game of as good as my player of the week, which was Tanner Mordecai, quarterback SMU.
Okay, he was digging deep there for that one.
Look at his stat sheet.
379, 9 touchdowns. What the fuck?
And a rushing. He had 10 total touchdowns.
Oh my god,
this is one of the best games I've ever. Look at the score of that game.
Jesus, where's the defense? That's a shootout. Is there a highlight on this fucking game? That's insane.
This is one of the best games I've ever, like one of the best stat lines I have ever seen. 75% completion, 379.
What happened?
This was a shootout. This was the most points of any game in NCAA history. Like combined.
They played pretty convincingly against TCU as well.
They're a good team.
They barely lost to Cincy.
So Tanner Mordecai, for those of you who don't know, he was Spencer Rattler's backup in 2020 at OU. Transferred to SMU because he wasn't getting playing time. I think he's a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. I think OU kind of dropped the ball on him.
I mean, he hasn't really had like a terrible game. I mean, Cincinnati, that's not super good, but yeah, that's kind of bad actually.
Yeah, but I mean, 9 touchdowns,
Negative
a rushing
41
touchdown.
rush. How the fuck do you have negative 41 rushing
He
yards?
probably got like
Jesus.
sacked like deep.
Yeah, trying to like run out and got tackled. That's crazy. That's terrible.
But yeah, that was I saw this stat line. I saw the score and I was like, but that
What
has
the
some
hell
some
happened?
good stats in that game. And I was like, 9 touchdowns,
Yeah.
like 10 total. Like
My God. He did it against Maryland. Oh no, I thought that was touchdowns. I was like, he did it again.
he's done it twice.
Yeah,
How's nobody talking about this guy?
before that, he only threw for 4 was his highest. That's nuts. What a baller.
Great game.
I bet Baylor wishes they had him.
And Houston's quarterback, who they're playing, he threw for 7. So like they were both on fire.
Absolute shootout. I just want to know where's the defense? They was just running 4 verticals every play,
I mean,
back and forth.
Houston, they'll be in the Big 12 next year, so I mean they're living up to the Big 12's defensive standards.
He didn't even throw for a lot of yards either. Like 9 touchdowns, you would be like, oh, the dude's throwing 500 easy. No, I guess not.
I bet you a lot of those were probably goal line touchdowns.
Yeah. What did a running back do that game?
He's rushed 5 or something crazy.
111, 146. Not too bad.
Not bad at all.
Their best receiver didn't even have more than 1 touchdown.
He's spreading the ball around. He's getting everybody. He's you get a touchdown. You get a touchdown.
Offensive lineman, you get a touchdown. Bring in the backup QB. We'll throw it to him too.
Yeah.
It's
I
impressive.
don't know if I've ever seen 9 touchdowns, like in recent memory at least. Like I'm sure it's happened, but
Yeah, that's
not
crazy.
not something you see every year.
No way.
But yeah, I mean it was a cool game. Just kind of a game I feel like a lot of people probably didn't know about or saw, so it's kind of wanted to give some attention to Tanner Mordecai. Great player in my opinion.
That'd been a kind of a fun game to watch. This might
I
have
would
been
I would have never thought to watch it, but
yeah,
I would. It would have been so fun to watch.
absolutely not. All right, defensive team performance of the week.
Who did I pick for that? Oh yeah, I just picked Georgia. Yeah, that's what I had as well.
Yeah, Tennessee was like one of the. I think it was the number 1 offense in the country, or
I mean, they probably still are just based on what they were doing.
I know they were top 5. So, and then they completely just shut them down. It was a super convincing like defensive performance. The stat line doesn't really do it too much justice. Yeah, they had 2 turnovers. They gave up a decent amount of first downs, almost 300 total yards, but they could do absolutely nothing on offense against Georgia's defense. I was surprised, very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, this game was just since we're talking about it, it was disappointing. It was. I was so sad just to see Tennessee fold the way they did. I quit watching it like at a certain point.
Oh,
Like
yeah, I did too.
OU was playing at the same time. I was like, I'd rather watch my team, even though we lost, but it was more competitive than this game.
I think I stopped watching in the like right here where they 27-6. I was like, all right.
On paper, it doesn't look like that bad of a loss. 27-13. And it doesn't look that bad, but I mean, really, Georgia dominated the entire game.
They put up their first fucking touchdown with 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, garbage time, pretty much.
I don't know, man. On some of these, like if they could have got a touchdown instead of a field goal or something, like it would have been a completely different game.
Hendon Hooker was rattled. Like I watched him.
Yeah.
His
offensive line.
He was missing people. Oh, he actually, that's the big thing. He got sacked like 6 times. Something crazy. He got sacked a lot of times.
Yeah, they were all over his ass.
Defense. Let's see.
I don't see it.
They don't have any defensive stats like at all. Two, three, 4, 5.
They had 6.
Yeah, 6 sacks total. That's what I thought. Yeah, he had no time to really.
Tennessee had 0.
he wasn't getting his feet set. He was overthrowing people because he was getting pressured. And then even sometimes when he wasn't getting pressured, he was still just you could tell he was nervous. Like I think he had Hyatt like wide open early in the game
Yeah, I overthrew two
for
people
sure
twice.
touchdown.
I mean, Georgia didn't even put on like a crazy offensive performance either. I mean, it's sad, sad. This is a kind of jumped out to me. Out of their 66 total tackles, 50 of them were solo. So like open field, like that's wild.
They're
They was
stacked.
not they was not letting anybody break loose.
No, I mean they're stacked on defense. Georgia. I mean, I didn't think Georgia was gonna win this game going into it. I thought they could. Like I thought it could be a close one. But I
I
really
didn't think
didn't
they
see
were
a
gonna
lot
win
of
either.
scenarios where Georgia could win. I really thought it was going to be a Tennessee blowout or a really close win on either side. I didn't think Georgia was just going to dominate the whole
I,
game.
I didn't either. It's hate to see it.
The most disappointing game of the season for me. And it wasn't even a good
Yeah,
game. That's what sucks about it. It wasn't
it
even like
really
it
it
wasn't
wasn't.
entertaining.
It was so one sided.
It'd be one
So
thing
one
if it
sided.
was like a fun game to watch. Like it could have been nice, but no, it wasn't even a fun game to watch.
Unless you're a Georgia fan.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they loved it.
Yeah, I bet they did. Fucking Georgia. Crazy. Okay. Disappointing player of the week. Who you got?
I I
I got a whole player group for this one team.
I have a yeah, I have a both of Clemson's QBs as
Ooh, okay.
as
Um,
my most
check.
disappointing.
Where are they? Yeah, not good. One touchdown, one interception. I mean, he threw the ball a lot, but he only had 191 yards.
He wasn't
Let's
really doing much.
do.
Box score. The other dude had one attempt interception.
What's crazy is this was just a defensive fucking beatdown from Clemson, and then they just ran all over them.
Even Notre Dame's
Um,
quarterback really didn't do that good. If you look at his stats, it's not really a good game.
what the
But
hell happened to Chris Tyree? Why is he only running 7 times? That dude's a beast.
I didn't watch the entire game. I caught it.
I, I didn't
I
watch
caught I
any of it.
caught I caught a lot of it. Like I caught a lot of this game. I was switching back between this one and the Bama game. But yeah, Clemson running all over them. Their D or not Clemson, Notre Dame running all over Clemson. Their defense looked phenomenal, and Clemson just I just feel like they got exposed. Like they didn't do anything too crazy. I think it's really
Yeah,
crazy
they're
that Venable's son stayed with Clemson and didn't transfer to OU. A little weird, but I didn't even know he had a son that was in college and playing because I would not expect him to
suspect.
not to be on any other team besides OU, but he's stuck with Clemson. I guess he's a pretty decent defensive player.
Yeah, they just had, it was like a special teams defensive win for Notre Dame. Like they had 2 interceptions, one's for a touchdown. They ran a pump back. Is this the one where they blocked, or did they actually run one back?
They blocked one. I think it's just a block. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they return one. I don't remember a return. I remember the block. I
Um.
saw the block.
Yeah. They just and then they had 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss to my Clemson's 1 and 4. They ran all over them. QB performances on both sides is just terrible. Like they and Clemson, like you think like looking at like, oh, they're struggling throwing the ball. You think they would run the ball, but Will Shipley only had 12 carries. Like that's kind of a big deal right there. Like, why is this man only got 12 carries?
Yeah, they
That's like the best
definitely
player on your offense.
they should have made him more the focus. And
And
like I
he
said earlier, like they pick a quarterback, stick to him. It was stupid. You got in both of their heads. They both looked terrible. This was just bad for Clemson. This was bad, really bad.
100%. I got a similar bad player of the week. I got Miami's quarterbacks.
Ah,
Fucking dog shit. Look, this dude 5 for 9, 37, 4 for 8, 24, 1 for 2, 1.
I didn't catch
62,
any of this game, so this is all news to me.
62 total yards, 2 interceptions. We beat the ever living dog shit out of Miami, and I was here for it. Um, yeah, they were bad. I'll leave off on there because I'm coming back to this, but their quarterback room. So Tyler Van Dyke did get hurt, so that's what happened to him because he is their starter. That's their guy.
He's not that bad.
And then Brown is a mobile quarterback, so he doesn't really throw much. He had 64 rushing yards, more than his passing.
Garcia.
And I think that's Jake or Jeff Garcia. I can't remember what the fuck his name is. Yeah, I don't know what
Garcia.
I don't know what they're gonna do because if Van Dyke's hurt, I think Brown was the guy that they were rolling with. He's just not a passing quarterback, so
so we got a 49.5 QBR, 15.1 QBR, 0.1 QBR. I'm granted it was on one or two passes, but
one's an interception too. I love it.
Oh yeah, he did the same thing as the Clemson guy pretty much.
He threw for 1 yard and then his other pass was an interception.
You know how much that probably sucks? Like, it's my chance. This is my shot. Pick.
Fucking psych. Get dominated. I love it. It's so fulfilling because it's like it's one of our biggest rivals and we shut them down. So all right. I guess we'll roll into our Heisman top 5. I feel like we might have a similar, but towards the back end it'll change. I think the number one's probably
no.
I thought granted he did not do anything to deserve this spot, but he's
I debated putting him up there. But yeah,
my reasoning he's undefeated. He's the only QB outside of Stetson Bennett that deserves to be in the Heisman top 5 from an undefeated team. So he had a terrible game. Granted, though, it was like 60-mile-an-hour winds for like the start of the game. Like you physically can't throw in that.
Yeah, like, it is terrible conditions.
I think they was waiting for like the quarters to switch to be able to throw the ball. So you're throwing with the wind. But even throwing with the wind, it being that fast, you're gonna overthrow all your balls, or it's gonna be so fucking fast, like they might not be able to catch them. So he only threw for 76 yards. Nothing, no touchdowns, no picks. He did run for 79, so that's something. But he did nothing to retake this first spot. Only Hendon Hooker losing is what did it for me.
Pretty much the same. Like I would have had, Hendon Hooker had he won. He would still be my number one. I have a Blake Corum at number one. I think he's been consistent the whole season. His team has been consistent. I think his team is one of the most consistent teams. And I mean, he's got 16 touchdowns on the year. If they beat Ohio State, I think he has a really, I've been saying it all year, like if they could beat Ohio State and he just keeps doing what he's doing, he's got a really good shot. And I mean, I could see like CJ Stroud might surpass him at some point again. And even let's say Hendon Hooker just balls out, maybe he could get back in. But at this point, I think Blake Corum, to me, I think he's gonna be sitting there at the end of the year, and I think he has a good shot of winning it. You can't keep that man out of the end zone.
I think he'll definitely make the ceremony. I actually took him out of my top 5.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was looking through players and I was just like, fucking, I don't know. I might be just fucking high as some people in the comments think, so don't fucking at me. Number 2, I got Hendon Hooker. Outside of he had one bad game. He had a bad game. He threw for 195, 1 interception. He get sacked 6 fucking times. So that's the huge elephant in the room for his performance. You can't be settled. You can't get settled being sacked 6 times. And I think his hurries were like way up. So like they was all over his ass. So he's had a really good year. They got one loss to the number 1 team in college football. He's got a chance to still win. Also, I think he is, if not the best, the second best quarterback currently playing.
Yeah. So my second was Stroud, and my third was Hooker. So we're kind of close on those two.
Okay.
Stroud, like he's phenomenal, like statistically. Besides this game, this is the only actually truly bad game he's had at this season. Everything
Yeah.
else is like pretty solid.
Even that
I,
Iowa game, he still threw for 4 touchdowns and almost 300.
he's probably like I think he like same thing I said about Blake Cormick. Say for CD Stroud, if Ohio State wins out, I think he's gonna win. I think Hendon Hooker actually has a really tough road to get back to being the favorite. I think he still could win. Obviously, he'll obviously be there at the end of the season, but they don't really play anybody to like give you that signature win at the end of the season for Tennessee. Granted, he could just statistically go off, and that would help his case a lot. Like
Yeah.
he throws like 5 touchdowns the next 3 games, then yeah, he might win. But yeah, that's my top three. My top three really hasn't changed, just the order has. It's pretty much
Fair.
been Hooker, Stroud, Corn for me for the past like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So none of that really changed. I just rearranged them.
I got Bo Nix number 3.
I got a Bo Nix at 4. So
Bo Nix has turned it up. He's going off. So he has what 30 some total touchdowns. I don't does CJ Stroud have any rushing touchdowns?
no.
Uh no, so that's an accurate total. What about Hendon Hooker? He might have some.
1 or not, so that's like the whole season.
He's got 4, so he's got 25 total
5.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
Fucking Bo Nix has 30 something. Bo Nix got 5 interceptions. He's got 2. Stroud's got 4. So he's pretty tight with them there. Yards 24.95, 25.33, 24.53. So he's ahead of CJ Stroud in yards, but behind Hendon Hooker. More touchdowns than all in both of them. QBR, he's got 88.3, a little bit lower than Hendon, and a significant couple points under CJ Stroud. But he's killing it. Yeah, if they win out, their one loss being to Georgia doesn't look too bad. I think he's got a shot.
Yeah, I like him statistically. The only really thing preventing me from like putting him like pretty high on my list is just the strength of schedule. They really haven't played anybody that great besides UCLA, and then the one truly good team they played, they got just stomped out by. Granted, it was the first game of the season. I'd love to see that rematch like now.
Would be nice. I think
Having
it'd be
Oregon
a different game.
But yeah, I have
I
Bo
don't.
Nix at 4. So I mean, I think he's on the rise. He could easily win it.
Yeah, I don't know if Oregon would win. I don't think they would win, but it would be
Nah,
much closer.
they'd at least
Yeah.
score half of what Georgia scores.
Okay, so I got Bo Nix at 3. You have him at 4. So I guess I got Drake May at 4. This guy is fucking crazy. Like crazy. He's got the most passing touchdowns in the league. He's got 3 interceptions, which was less than everybody other than Hendon Hooker. He's got more yards than all of them. Yo. QBR's like just under CJ Stroud's. Has he got any rushing? What's his rushing stats? Ooh, solid. And he's got 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's got, where is it? So 31. He's got 35 total touchdowns. So he's like right there with Bo Nix. He's actually got more yards. I just think Oregon's a little bit better of a team. So that's why I got him over Drake May. But this guy's going off. Like, look at the stat line. Just nothing under 200, almost averaging 300 yards a game passing. Dude's averaging at least 3 touchdowns a game. He's only thrown 3 picks, a decent amount of sacks, and he's averaging at least 50 yards rushing a game. So, man's cooking. They did almost lose to Virginia. So
he's having a really good season though.
As a freshman, that's incredible.
I don't know if he's a redshirt or not. If he's a redshirt, he is definitely going number 1 in 2024. If he's a redshirt, if he's a true freshman in 2025, he's like the number 1 overall pick. He's one of those guys.
he might be number one regardless as long as he keeps this shit up. Like he's very good, very very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have him like in my rankings, but I could see him climbing up just depending on how North Carolina finishes. I think statistically he's good. He's just not on like I guess like the flashiest team, and he hasn't like really played the best of competition yet.
No, I mean statistically he's better than everybody else above him, like on paper.
Yeah, I would say like out of everybody here, he's probably played the weakest schedule.
Yeah,
Which is probably why
100%.
he's not on as many people's radar, even though he's on the rise as well.
I don't think he'll win, but he might get invited.
Yeah, at 5, I got Caleb Williams. He's balling out, man. That dude's nuts.
Got Stetson Bennett.
Hell nah.
Yeah, you could probably heavily make the case for Caleb Williams over Stetson Bennett. Check out Caleb Williams first. I do like Caleb Williams. He's a gunslinger.
He's only got one pick.
We'll match him up against Drake May. So he's like, so CJ Stroud has the highest QBR by like 6 points. He has tied for first in interceptions. I don't know who he's tied with. Nobody on this list. 28 touchdowns. Does he have any rushing? Let's see his total. He's got 4, so he's 32 total. So he's like just under Drake May and Bo Nix on total touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yards 27-42. He's beating everybody other than Drake May. At least on our list. I mean,
yeah.
I don't. There's probably some other fucking random shitter teams that are higher than him. So, yeah, statistically, he's better than everybody but Drake May, and he's played a better schedule. What am I looking for? I mean, not really though. Not on other than Utah. Like that's it. But yeah, that's it. But Drake May played Notre Dame, so and they both lost.
But I mean, if you look at his performance against Utah, like his completion percentage wasn't great, but like
he was cooking.
Look at the ratio, like the touchdown interception ratio, like it's really on that defense. So if like USC had a good defense, I feel like so in my opinion, Caleb Williams is the most talented player in all of college football. And he's cursed with a terrible defense, and he's not going to get the recognition that he deserves because he's just on a team that is going to, let 30 points get dropped on him almost every game.
I don't think that'll be the case next year. Like this is Lincoln Riley's first year. Next year, the transfer portal is going to be big for USC. The recruiting's already improved. They flipped a bunch of commits from like Oklahoma to USC. I'm sure they flipped a bunch of commits from other people to USC. USC is a huge program. If you ball out at USC, you're going to the league. It's one of those teams. So I don't think the defense will be as much of an issue next year. There's no way.
I think it will. I think no way. I think as long as if they don't fire Alex Grinch, because Alex Grinch he was with OU for like 3 years before he made this switch to USC, taking a lot of the same players from OU to USC, and then all the rest of the guys he's got are probably like 5-star guys or like really high up there. He's just not a good coach. If they hire somebody else at defense, I think they could have a really good defense because they definitely could get the talent. But no, they gotta fire Alex Grinch, man. He's not good. He needs to go to like
fucking Presbyterian high school.
He would look really good at like the Big 12. Yeah, the Big 12 was a good fit for him. You could
nobody plays defense in the Big
12. You can allow 30 points and actually look like a pretty good defense in the Big 12
and still win. Wild. Yeah, I like Caleb Williams. I don't know what's Stetson Bennett, man. He's playing really, really well. He's not, playing incredible, but he's playing really well. So he's got 8 rushing touchdowns. So he'd have 19 total touchdowns, which isn't a lot. He's got a fuck ton of yards, only 3 interceptions, solid QBR. So he's like behind almost all those people, but his team's number one in the country. So that gives him a little bit more to stand on. And he's the defending champion.
Yeah, he's definitely probably the best leader on this list, or one of the best leaders. Hendon Hooker is really good. CJ Stroud.
I was thinking
really good.
Bryce Young, but we don't have Bryce Young.
Bryce Young is the best leader in the country, I think.
On as a QB, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, but Stetson Bennett, he's a great leader. He's poised. You know, he's a really smart player, as you can tell by his QBR and his interceptions. I mean, he just doesn't have the talent. I feel like he has like everything else besides the talent.
I think he could be a solid NFL QB. I mean, he's not as tall as you would like, but like that's okay. 5'11" is not bad. I think he'd be okay depending on what team he gets on. He might not start, but
I think he'd be like a really good backup.
He would be a very good backup, but depending on the system and like who he has to sit behind for maybe a year or two, and then he can come in, like, learn some more shit. I think he could be pretty good. He takes care of the ball. He's really fucking emotional and like the way he plays. He's energetic. He gets the team fired up. He gets the crowd fired up. He can run. He don't run a lot. Like, I mean, he runs when he has to. Like the one time he had ran against fucking Tennessee, touchdown. Florida, he didn't even need to run. They blew their ass out. Against Auburn, they ran for 64 yards. So when he needs to run, he runs. And people don't really expect it, but like they know he can do it. It's just he just catches him because he's super fucking quick too. Unsurprisingly.
Well, and he has good vision, so he sees when things open up where he
knows he will take some hits too.
I'm not throwing a pick, so I'm just gonna take off with it.
Yeah, he'll take a hit. He took a big ass hit on that touchdown run against Tennessee. Like, dude got hit in the back of the head. I was like, ooh.
I think it'd be cool if obviously he's not gonna win, but it'd be cool if he got to get an invite. I think he's earned it.
I think he could. He could.
You think he could win it?
No.
No, yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool for him to get an invite.
Start of the year, we did have him. I think we both had him.
I had him like that, like 3 early on.
Yeah, that Oregon win, that's a marquee win. And then it just kind of died off. Like he's got 1, 2, 3. Like this is, I think, about where we took him off. He had 3 games with no touchdowns. Yeah, he threw the ball a fuck ton. And I'm imagining they just ran the ball in. He did have a rushing touchdown in 2 of those 3 games, but like touchdowns is like a big thing for QB. Like, I mean, if he was up here like 3,500 yards and 11 touchdowns, like, okay, cool. Yeah, I would maybe move him up even further, but this 11 touchdowns is kind of holding him back, in my opinion. And I'm always right, so it's right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the field's kind of set. Like, I feel like most of the guys we've mentioned, I don't think there's any other names really outside of that are really still in it.
Other than Bryce Young on the outside looking in, but with 2 losses. Yeah, but it's not even his fault too. It's just this fucked up thing. Like the losses aren't his fault. He's played phenomenal, but
you Bryce can't. Young, DTR for UCLA. If he wins out, he could probably be sitting there. But most of these guys, I think it's kind of set. The stage
undefeated teams or 1-loss teams.
Yeah, the stage is pretty much set.
It's these 6, maybe a 7th, but that's one of these guys. It's more so probably going to be, I think it's CJ Stroud.
Probably. Realistically, he has the best shot.
I think even if they lose to Michigan, I think he still wins. Blake Corum needs to fucking pick it up. Like in that Ohio State game, he needs to run all over them.
I think if he keeps doing 100+ and multiple touchdown games just till the season ends, because he's easily going to have over 20 touchdowns by the end of the year. He's at 16 right now, and there's still 3 or 4 games left.
Shit. Watch Bo Nix hit 50 total touchdowns. He might win that off that.
See, I think Bo Nix could win too. I think Bo Nix is a real possibility.
Who do they have left? So he's got a good matchup against Utah to put in the bank. He's already beat UCLA, beat BYU. And then they would play another top 10 team in the Pac-12. So and a ranked Oregon State. So if he runs and just beats the shit out of these three teams, and then probably USC is what I'm gonna guess, and beats them convincingly, I think he might have the best shot.
Yeah, well, he's playing the winner of the USC UCLA game, so either way, that's going to look like a good win.
Statistically, he's gonna have probably the best season out of the quarterbacks at the end of the year.
Like, it just depends on how valued his wins are, and if they do. Like, I feel like Utah could be a real problem for him. I think that is a losable game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I think they could lose. I think the USC UCLA could be losable. So we'll see. I think if they went out and like you said, he's pushing like 50 total touchdowns, it'd be hard not to give him the award.
For sure. All right, we got game of the week. I just
put duh.
We pretty much already talked. That was like our first thing. That was the LSU Alabama game. That was the best game. Could have been Tennessee Georgia if Tennessee showed up to play. So, but they didn't, and we're on LSU Bama, which is deserving. That was a nail biter. It went to OT. There was gutsy calls. Good play. Just good play across the board. Maybe game of the year.
Yeah, I would say it was my
the Tennessee Bama game is also really good.
That was I don't know. Good. I just looked up like the Vegas Heisman odds, like just because I was curious. CJ Stroud is like far and away the favorite. He's at a plus 180. Second is Blake Corum at plus 1,000. Bo Nix is 3 at plus 1,400. Caleb Williams is 4, Stetson Bennett's 5, Bryce Young 6, and Drake May 7. So pretty much everybody we mentioned is
in some capacity.
Odds, but CJ Stroud is so much further than them,
which is crazy.
Like it's his award to lose.
Yeah, agreed. I wonder if they lose that Michigan game, I wonder if he still wins.
It depends on does he lose them the game? Like if that was the case, that would
maybe put the nail in the coffin.
He's probably gonna win. I mean, it's just like he's had such a boring season. Like I mean, he's doing great, but it's just like he's just winning. Like nothing exciting is happening. Like the Penn State game was kind of exciting.
They should have lost.
They've yet to be in a game where I'm like CJ Stroud just does like unbelievable stuff. Like I'm just
CJ Stroud fucks.
He's just on like an NFL team, basically of wide receivers.
Yeah, agreed. And their offensive line's pretty good, so he's like just big chilling, coast into the fucking playoffs.
He's not as interesting like as some of the other guys, like on the field at least. Like Hendon Hooker to me is more interesting.
Yeah, I like him better. Pretty
much actually everybody else on this list to me is just like more fun for me to watch than CJ Stroud. Like he's a great player, don't get me wrong. Like he has a great arm, he's calm, he's cool, but it's just kind of like
he's just there quietly winning.
It's just it's not exciting. But yeah, LSU Alabama was easily the game of the week. Yeah. We kind of already talked about it at the beginning, but yeah, it was a great game. Gutsy call at the end. I was like about to have a heart attack at the end of that game. Like I was like, just like, come on, like don't blow this.
Yeah, Alabama finally got this is the year. I like it.
Yeah, we don't really have to jump too far into that. My best performance by team, I have Georgia. If you have somebody different, we could jump into that.
I got Georgia as well.
So yeah, we just skip that. Yeah,
they dominated one of the best offenses in the country across the board. So we already talked about it.
Most disappointing performance by a team. I have Illinois.
I got Clemson. Because fuck them, that's why.
Yeah, Clemson was they're
Clemson did nothing. They did absolutely nothing in this game. Like they got 2 touchdowns and both of them were in the fourth quarter in garbage time when they were
it was 28-0. Like that's
insane. And we already looked at the QB stats. Like nobody was throwing the ball on this field. It was all rushing and a stout defensive performance from Notre Dame. Like we could have maybe put up defensive team performance of the week on Notre Dame. Very doable.
Yeah,
But
I mean those garbage time touchdowns made
but
it.
Tennessee has a more potent offense than Clemson, so like that Tennessee getting shut down looks better than Clemson, who we all knew was not good. Got shut down. So yeah, 2 turnovers. They still had a good amount of first downs and total yards. Not too far off on possession time, but we kind of already looked at it a little bit. We'll see if there's anything else stands out. I can't get over how they only let Will Shipley run the ball 12 times. And he had 63 yards on those 12 carries. Like that's solid. Like stop fucking letting DJ throw the ball. Like he's not super good.
Do you think? I think DJ might enter the portal at the end of the season, just with like Dabo like just taking him out. Like in my opinion, like prematurely. Like let him settle into the game, but now he's like, nope. If we're even like in a little bit of trouble, I'm taking him out.
Yeah.
If I'm DJ, I'm out of there.
I think he
Like,
could. Just like where would he go?
uh, I mean, there's a lot of teams I think would take him. Oklahoma would take him.
Miami needs a quarterback.
Miami needs one. Yeah. I mean Notre Dame needs one.
Notre Dame always needs a quarterback. I don't under Penn State.
Yeah, I mean Clifford's gonna be gone, and he's really not even that good to begin with.
No,
Is
he's not.
Bo Nix a senior?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean Oregon's gonna be looking for one.
I think he'd fit okay in the Oregon system. He can run the ball. Like
UCLA is gonna be looking for one. DTR's on his last year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of actually teams looking for quarterbacks, like really thinking about it. Oklahoma State, I mean, I don't think he'd go there just because like it's Oklahoma State, but Spencer Sanders is leaving.
Fucking finally, that dude's been there forever.
LSU he's younger. I don't
Yeah,
think
he's not leaving.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah, Arkansas is gonna be looking for one.
Ohio State.
He's got all the options in the world. Michigan, like they need one. I mean, the guy McCarthy, he's
JJ
okay,
McCarthy,
but he's not like that good.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I was one of those teams, I'd at least make the phone call like, "Hey, how you feeling, man? Trying to come over here and make some magic."
I think he would. I think Notre Dame actually is a really good fit. Looking at it, like they need a quarterback.
Very, very bad. This is like fucking Pine's not even their starter. Their starter is like hurt.
And if you look at the rest of their team, they're pretty good.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got a solid setup going. That Marshall win is super bad. Ohio State lost. Yeah, okay. Who's the third team they lost to?
I don't remember. Stanford. Oh,
that's also a bad
terrible loss.
Yeah. I think if they had DJ, they might not have lost any of those games.
Yeah, I think Marcus Freeman's a great coach. I think he's really starting to prove it now. He's getting settled in. He's a player favorite, and I think DJ would actually really like playing for him. His players love him.
I would like playing for him. I'll go play for Notre Dame.
Their whole staff is really great. They're really player first coaches.
Yeah,
they're really like animated too on the sidelines. Like they just get really hyped when their guys make plays.
They got a great environment to play in too. Like it's cold as shit, super cold. That's the only reason I wouldn't go to Notre Dame. Way too cold. Fucking pass.
Notre Dame. And I feel like you're getting some NIL deals at Notre Dame just because it's Notre Dame. They have they're the only team that has an exclusive deal. Like NBC only shows Notre Dame for college football. They don't show any other college football besides Notre Dame, and I think like some of the military teams, like Army, Navy. I think that's all they show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. They get an NBC deal.
They're the only team that like besides I think Texas had like the Longhorn Network, but like Notre Dame has like an NBC like deal.
That's cool. I don't know how they deserve that, but they've done nothing to deserve that.
I think it has more to do with the fact that most teams they get their TV deals based on conferences, and Notre Dame doesn't have a conference, so they just had to seek one out individually.
Fair. Yeah, comes from terrible fucking trash can performance. I could have put Miami here, but I already got to talk about Miami, so I was like, I'll go somewhere else. Who'd you have?
Illinois, unfortunately.
I hate to see it, man. We were big on Illinois. we was pulling for them.
It's the fact that they lost to this garbage
Fucking
Michigan
Michigan
State
State.
team.
Their coach is on the hot seat too.
Michigan State, man, that like the same guys that were jumping a single Michigan player. You told me they came out and beat Illinois.
Dude, and like their fucking QB kind of went crazy.
Chase Brown went good. Like, I mean, he had 136. Granted, it was on
That's
33 carries, but still.
it looks like their defense finally didn't show up. Like, I don't know. I
Total
mean,
yards are not that. I mean, it's not that bad.
I kind of wish I'd
They
watched this
actually. It
game.
looks
I don't
like
know what the
they
fuck
beat them
happened.
all in every like facet of the game. Um, yeah, everything. It looks like they did better than them, man. Besides the score at the end.
What about penalties? Where's that at? That might
Oh,
be
that might be the differentiator.
better on third down.
No, they're better penalty wise.
They went for it 6 times on fourth down. That
Oh
might
yeah,
be
that looks like that's what got him for sure.
that's bad. Total yards better, passing better, interceptions better, rushing better, penalties better.
Yeah, it looks like it's the fourth down. So that had to be the thing
How
that
the
got
fuck
him
are they going for it 6 times
six
on fourth
times.
down?
I mean, like depending on where you're on the field, that gave them so Michigan State so many opportunities. Why?
They're at the 2 yard line. They went for it. So it was 0-0. They went for the touchdown, turned it over, and they scored. So it was up 7-0. Punt, touchdown, fumble, punt. Went for it again. Where were they at?
Where were they?
The 29-yard line.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad field
I mean,
position
but
for
they're
Michigan
they're down
State.
9-7 right there. I just kicked that field goal. Halftime, punt, 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 touchdown, fumble, touchdown, touchdown. So it's competitive here, 23-15. They get the ball back. They go for it again on fourth down at the 20, 4th and 2. Michigan missed a field goal. And then, yeah, that was at the 27-yard line. Couldn't do it.
So this is that makes no sense to me.
Like,
Because
what the fuck are you doing?
they have one of the best defenses in the country, and they're going for it on fourth down. Like, do you not have faith in your defense? It's like one of the best defenses. Like that defense can hold them off for you.
Or your kicker, they didn't even kick a field goal. Not one time. Like that's just a bad. I'd fire my coach.
It sounds like it's on coaching. Like really,
I'd fire my coach for some dumbass shit like that.
Yeah, looks like a just terrible coaching in that scenario. They have all the talent in the world. Like besides, I mean, I don't know how good their quarterback is, but I mean, their running backs are good. The defense is great.
Hate to see it. Illinois was like one of our last hopes for non-big teams to kind of try to make a run at something. But
I would love to see him like pull off an upset like Michigan, like something. Like it'd be cool.
You hate to see it, man. That sucks. Well, I guess we'll do. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, and we'll hop into team talk.
But yeah, I mean, this was just a really disappointing performance by Illinois. Yeah, we're about to hop into favorite team talk. OU, got the L, so that'll be fun to talk about. Florida State looked really good though, so that was interesting. I'm curious to see how the committee goes next, like on the lower half of like the committee's rankings. That's kind of where I'm curious because like we all know kind of where the top 6 is sitting, and pretty much like the top like 11, we pretty much have a good idea of where that's gonna sit. But those bottom teams, like where's Texas gonna be, where's Florida State gonna be, where's like K-State gonna be, Notre Dame. There's a lot of a mystery kind of in the bottom half of the college football playoff rankings that I'm just curious to see how they unfold tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping there's some good stuff at the bottom. Like I would really like to see Notre Dame a little bit higher. We'll see, we'll see what they do with like Florida State and Texas, but yeah, I was just kind of talking about like we know what the college football playoff rankings are going to look like at the top. Like the bottom's kind of a mystery. Like where they're gonna have like Florida State, Texas, Notre Dame. Yeah, this game, man.
Hey, You guys played them close. I mean, this is like one of those kind of coin flip games that could have went either way, and I'm actually surprised you guys was this close.
Yeah, so with this game, this was actually like I'm actually super proud of the team. I'm not really mad about it. Everybody tried their best. They played really
This
good.
this is this is
That's
why
what
you
lost
guys
the game.
lost.
That's what lost the game. Dylan
I didn't
Gabriel
watch this
just
game, but immediately looking at that, I was like, oh, there it is.
yeah, I watched pretty much the whole game once the Tennessee got like really out of hand. I quit flipping back and forth and I just stayed on this one. Defense wasn't that bad. Eric Gray continues to do his thing. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel, who had only thrown one interception before this game, throws three, and that's
That's
that's pretty,
tough.
that's the deciding factor. If he doesn't throw one of those, like Baylor's defense was not that good.
Was it
Uh,
like bad just on him, or was it kind of like
there was one that was like a tip, like it was the first one. Yeah, it kind of just went off of I guess Wilson's
oh,
hands.
incomplete, broken up, and then they scored immediately after. They threw another one when it was tied.
Yeah, I think that one was just like a straight up like
Then they went up 17-14. You guys were down by 3, got an interception, and then immediately threw another one. Still down by 3. Missed a field goal to tie. And they was up by 10. Punt. You guys brought it back. I mean, yeah, without those interceptions,
it was a
could have been
good
a
game.
completely
Like
different
the
game.
offense actually looked really good. Besides like when he was throwing interceptions, this offense is actually going to be pretty hard to stop. I think we're going to close out the season on a high note. I think this was a good learning experience for Dylan Gabriel. I think he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. I don't think this is going to happen again. It's just I think it's a fluke game on Dylan's part. The rest of the team looks prepared. The defense, still has some work. I think a lot of the players on this defense, they're just not of Brent Venables' standard, and he's gonna bring those guys in.
Yeah.
But I think we close the season out. Might lose one more. I don't think we lose two. I think we're gonna be bowl eligible. I think we're gonna win at least one more game to get bowl eligible for sure. Um,
Uh,
yeah, I
yeah, I
think
don't
we're
know.
gonna
I
win
mean,
one of those. Yeah,
those are all decently tough games for you guys.
we're
Like,
not gonna lose all three of those. There's no way.
no, I'm not saying you guys will lose all 3, but like to win out would be tough. Um,
I think Oklahoma State
it's
is
probably the
gonna.
only like highly likely loss. But even after seeing
I
what
think
they've
I think we're gonna whoop the shit out of them.
yeah, after seeing what they've done recently, and if Spencer Sanders isn't back, you guys beat the shit out of them.
I'm most scared of a Tech.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Tech is scary.
That's
Tech's like a really scary
fucking
team.
trap sleeper team at its finest
They're
right
actually
now.
really good. Like they're really underrated.
Yeah, they are, which is weird. I like Texas Tech. They're a cool team. There's something
They're
about them.
always offensively. They're always just like
I
stop.
like their uniforms are cool. They
The
do
field's
good.
cool. Like
They do
everything
good
about it's
shit.
cool.
They're kind of just one of them silent teams that just does their thing.
Yeah, Texas Tech. I think they have a good shot to be good next year. Like they played TCU pretty close. They beat Texas. They played Oklahoma State really close. We probably lose to Texas Tech, honestly. Like if I had to pick a game that I think we're gonna lose, this is the game. Texas Tech is the scariest team.
And Texas Tech could win out. I mean, Kansas isn't near what they were. That'd be a good game, actually. Iowa State, I think they beat Iowa State, and then I mean they could beat you guys.
Like
Could.
besides that Baylor game, they haven't really got whooped in any of their losses. Like they're like
Yeah,
reasonably close.
10 points. That's 9. Or is that 8? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then another 2 score loss. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I can't really speak on them. But
And
I
like honestly, like it's at the point in the season where like the if we win or lose, it actually doesn't matter. The season's like done. Like
you're pretty much playing for starting spots.
we just
Like
want
see who wants to be on the team.
yeah, in bowl eligibility. Like if we
Yeah.
get bowl eligible, that's like the last hurdle we have. Besides that, nothing else really matters this season. It's just about player development.
Yeah.
So I don't really like. I wasn't that mad because it's not like, oh, we're not going to the championship now. I mean, it's like,
Yeah. Just getting reps for backups, stuff like that.
it's always. I mean, you want to win, but it's like, it's fine. Like
There's
we'll be
nothing really to win for now. other than getting a bowl game.
Yeah, it's just pride at this point.
Yeah. I seen that thing. So the Cheez It Bowl that we thought we might be able to meet up in. Now it's looking like we're playing Baylor. So if you guys would have won this game, it could have been us. Hate to see it.
Could have been. I mean, I think Baylor could still lose. I don't know who they play, but they're not that good.
And Baylor would be a tough one. Our rushing defense sucks. So, and this man ran for almost 200. I think we would stop them on passing because we have a decent passing defense. And we have a good like not rushing defense, but like getting to the quarterback. But we cannot stop the run at all. I don't know what it is. It's so annoying. So it'd be an interesting matchup, but I think we could still beat them.
Yeah, I think Baylor. Baylor's actually a really disappointing team because everybody thought they were like the Big 12 favorites and might make the playoffs and all this. And Baylor really hasn't done that good. This was a game they easily could have lost.
They shut the bed a little bit this year.
Yeah, I think maybe they're just kind of like a one year like thing.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they're a one hit wonder last year. They might not be that good.
It's tough. Well, you got anything else on this?
Oh, I'm just looking forward to Bedlam at this point. It's pretty much like the only thing I have left to hope for.
Yeah, earlier in the year, I thought OSU was gonna walk you guys, but after seeing their last 3 games, there's no way they win that game. I don't know what the fuck happened to them. After they lost to TCU, is like full skid.
So in their defense, Sanders was out against Kansas, and for some reason I don't know why, but Gundy didn't start his son, who's been backing up the whole season, but for some reason they started somebody else. I don't know if he's like redshirted and he
3 interceptions.
Like why not put Gundy in? He's actually looked really good when they put him in.
He's more than likely gonna be the starter next year. Like, get him some fucking playing time.
Maybe he didn't want him to get hurt, or maybe he didn't want to look like he's playing favorites. I don't know what it was, but it was weird that they didn't have Gundy in.
And they got fucking beat down again.
But yeah, we got more happy news in the Florida State Miami game.
Yes, sir. We shit all over the Miami. This was the most complete FSU performance in a hot minute. It was every portion of the game we was cooking them. Jordan Travis, he went through 12 times, but 202 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. We ran the ball really well. Trey Benson is a tank. This guy is crazy. He's so fucking crazy. He's like, I think the most elusive running back in college football right now by like a significant margin. He's a little slippery snake, and he would just run through people. Like, there was so many plays like this year, like he would just run through like 4 people, or he'd be wrapped up by 3 and still moving. The guy's crazy. He's got a huge motor. He's fast as fuck. He returns our kickoffs, and he's our new starting running back because Trayshawn Ward didn't come back for this one, but he didn't need to because we was handling him. So I think he'd be back next week. Toafili looked good. Our defense was like the highlight for me. We was all over Miami, and Miami's defense was supposed to be pretty good. And I was kind of like, all right, it's going to be one of them defensive games. Our offense is probably going to struggle a little bit, but no, as soon as we came out, fucking, I texted you about this one. I think this was the third play of the drive, 56-yard pass. And then it was just downhill from there. They got a 49-yard field goal. I was upset about that. I was like, that man made 49-yard field goal. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Man,
to go to the league. It was just absolute slaughter from there. I think we pulled our starters in the 3rd quarter, and then they started getting close to scoring. We put our starters back in. And then they was in the red zone, and then they fumbled it. We got the ball back, so they didn't score again. That shit was fucking hilarious. We're not letting them get a fucking touchdown on us. Piece of shit.
The hatred.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had 4 turnovers.
Damn, they sold out for that too.
They sold out, and they were leaving at halftime. It was a very sweet victory. That's what I think about Miami. I hate Miami. We just dominated on every asset. or every aspect of the game. I don't even know what else to say. I'm happy little B. We got fucking Louisiana next week. Should be a blowout. Get us ready for Florida. Maybe we can go up big pretty early, get our starters some rest, and then come into Florida. And that's gonna be an interesting game. I don't know how I feel about that. Florida did beat down A&M this past weekend. I thought A&M was gonna win that game.
I watched that game. I watched a lot of that game. A&M, man, they keep losing. I love it. I love it every time. Like
Yeah, fuck
I don't
Jimbo.
even like I don't even really like hate A&M.
I just don't like
I
Jimbo.
hated see I don't even like I think he's terrible.
I don't like him.
It was more about like the Texas A&M pretty much buying their team
They
and then
did.
and then thinking they're gonna be like the best team in the country because they just paid players more,
There's
and
no chemistry or cohesion in the team.
it backfired into their face. Like Nick Saban, I took Nick Saban's like side when that whole thing went down, where Nick Saban was criticizing Jimbo,
Yeah,
because
he was
I think he
right.
was absolutely right. And yeah,
Yeah.
they suck. They're terrible. They're like the athletic director needs to be fired for giving that contract to Jimbo. Like it's an unfireable contract, damn near, and he needs to be fired. But they are not in a financial position to fire him unless those oil tycoons just are like,
We're done.
get Dion or whatever they like. We'll pay Dion this same contract probably.
A&M's like a really good job to have too. Like even without like the NIL deals, they were still recruiting really well.
A&M's like not. I think they made a mistake firing someone because he was doing better than Jimbo.
They're about the same, like win-loss ratio and stuff like that. It's like almost even.
Yeah, I mean they're not like. I guess Jimbo's just a bad hire. Like someone wasn't that good, but Jimbo
I,
was just a bad hire, and then he was just a big name who he did good at Florida State, but he also took over for Bobby Bowden. Like he still had remnants of Bobby Bowden's.
and
Like
then drove us into the ground.
he also had Mark Stoops as his defensive coordinator.
Mark Stoops was that
Um,
the defense was good. That defense was really good.
and yeah, I mean, you see what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky. Like that team was terrible. Now Kentucky's
Yeah,
like respectable.
yeah. They're a little above mid tier in the SEC currently.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of help at Florida State, and now he's getting exposed at A&M. He's lost the locker room completely. The players don't respect him. They're smoking in the locker room. They're
The audacity, that's fucking wild to even hear.
and then when
Like,
you listen to him, he just makes like excuses in the press conference, and he doesn't like he's never upset about it
he
too.
takes
Like
no accountability
he
for
doesn't look like he cares. Like
I don't know. He's always kind of like had that like a lost look to him. I remember like in some games, like we'd be losing and he'd just be on the sideline. It looked like he didn't know like what to do. So I don't know how we ended up winning that championship that year with him at the helm. Like at the time, I was like, oh, okay, Jimbo Fisher, fuck you. We got our guy. And then after that, it was just like just drove us into the ground.
he got carried by Jameis that year. Like is what I
And our
think
defense.
happened. Yeah, the
Yeah.
defense and plus the receiving core is really good that
With
year.
Devontae Freeman.
Defensively, you guys had who's the cornerback that was really good that year?
Oh,
Uh, he ended up being really good in the NFL. I'm pretty sure. I just can't remember off the top of
was
my
like
head who it
Xavier
was.
Rhodes.
Yeah, Rose was
Pretty sure it
good.
was Xavier Rhodes because that was we got Jalen Ramsey after that. We got Dalvin Cook after that. We had Derwin James after that.
You had a Rashad Green, a receiver. He was really good.
Yeah. He didn't do
Oh,
shit
you
in the
had
league.
Kelvin Benjamin
And Kellen
too,
Benjamin,
which he didn't do
Nick,
shit in the league.
and Nick O'Leary, the
Tight end,
little
yeah,
tight end. I love that guy.
yeah. The
I
team was
looked
stacked.
the other day. I was like a couple weeks ago. I looked up like all those players, like see what they're doing, and like I was like stalking their Instagram. They're all just not really doing shit. Unfortunately, hate to see it.
Jameis is like had like the weirdest career in the NFL. Like he's the first player to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in a season. Like on one end he's really good, and then on one end he's terrible.
I still like him.
I think he's good. I mean, he's had not a bad career. I mean, he's had some good. He's thrown 5,000 plus. I mean, he's not been terrible.
Yeah,
I don't.
his
Do you think New
decision
Orleans
making
sticks
is a
with
little
him?
bad. Oh, he's also been hurt pretty bad this year. He's got like
Yeah,
6 fucking broken bones in his back, and he was still playing. He's
yeah,
man's got heart.
great player.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't got anything else to say about FSU. We got an easy dub next week, and then Florida at home. That's gonna be a sellout game, a night game. I'm scared. We should win. We should win that game, and we should still be undefeated. I'm still sticking to that. We should be undefeated.
No, I mean, if you really look at your guys' schedule, those teams aren't that really that good that you lost to. You guys really should be undefeated.
Yes, we should. And now you can see that these all 3 of these teams have like turned into frauds. We were just not playing at our full potential. But I think
if
we've
you
kind of.
guys could beat Syracuse, I think you guys could beat Florida pretty easily.
Oh yeah, I
Like you
forgot about
saw.
Syracuse. Yeah, well, I think we stomped them out. Should blowout. I still think we win by 13.
That does have that rivalry
I
aspect. So
fucking hate playing Florida,
you
man.
never know. But I think
It's
Florida State
terrifying.
has it this year.
I hope we hang 41 on them or 45, maybe even 60. I'd be happy with that. That's honestly, if we like beating Miami and Florida is like the highlights of the year. Like I'm cool with our fucking season. Like yeah, we did. I'm actually just happy with the season now. Like 6-3. Like coming to this year, nobody even thought we would be pushing 6-3. Like maybe 4 or 5 wins. Because like look at the schedule, like Duquesne, yeah, you can chalk that up as a win. Everybody thought we'd lose to Louisville. Boston College is a dub, so that's 2. Loss. That's 3. Loss, 4. So like everybody was like, all right, you guys got 4 wins and like maybe a 5th somewhere all in there. So we've kind of already surpassed our season expectations.
Florida State should be
We'll be way better next year.
at least like a top 2 favorite in the ACC, like to win the ACC next year.
I don't see why we don't win the ACC convincingly next year.
I mean, it depends on what Clemson does because Clemson's gonna have a good. They're gonna have recruits. They're gonna have a good transfer portal. Like
I'm thinking we could be a New York 6 team next year. I don't not until the 12-team playoff. Then I think we could make it. But next year I don't think we'll make the playoffs. We could. Don't think we will.
12-team playoff. I can't wait because like I feel like OU is gonna get in.
It's gonna be chaos. Like you'd have fucking Alabama at number 10 playing fucking Michigan at number 3. Like that's a crazy matchup. Georgia, Clemson. Like if like this was the end of the year standings, like this was what happened. Like it'd be Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Michigan, Alabama, TCU, UCLA, Tennessee, USC, Oregon, LSU. Like those are incredible matchups. Like that'd be insane. And then everybody's like, I think the top 4 are the only teams that could win. Like this year, some of these teams could upset some of these teams.
No, like I've said, like this is a weird year. Like anybody can lose to anybody this year. Like I know, like Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan have been pretty dominant, but like they've struggled at times. Georgia was very close, very, very close to losing to Missouri.
And that's Missouri. Ohio State's been close to losing like 3 times. Michigan's almost only lost been close like once or twice. TCU's almost lost a couple times.
Like every game they play, pretty much.
Tennessee, outside of they've already lost. So yeah. It's crazy. It's one of the craziest years in college football I can remember.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a year crazier than this like in a while because I feel like the past like several years it's just been like Bama, like Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, like they're pretty much like those just rotating those with like an OU or an LSU.
Yeah. The season starts, you already know. You might as well fast forward to the end, and let's watch the playoffs.
Like you got that one team like every year that's kind of like different. Like Cincinnati was last year's like different team. I don't even remember 2020. I don't think I really watched a lot of football because I thought it was stupid that like Ohio State, like Big Ten conference play didn't start till like November. In Ohio
was that
State,
COVID schedule? They only played like 8 games, and they played Northwestern in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and they still got in. Like,
yeah,
I was like, man, how do you not play like? Because like the Big 12 like started like normal. like pretty much most of the conferences started like normal. I think the Pac-12 and the Big Ten were like the only ones that started like late. And I'm like, how is Ohio State just automatically in the playoffs?
Playing less games.
Like they played way less games. They have way less of a resume. I was like, dude, yeah, this is rigged. I think I just didn't watch that season. I was just like, you know, I'm done. I'm done with this season. And plus, it was weird with like no crowds, and
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I wish they would have just canceled that season. Honestly,
might as well. Give all those players another year of eligibility. You pretty much whatever you're going to be this year, you're the same grade next year.
no, I mean it was just weird and just the favoritism. Like I can't wait for the 12 team because like they could still show favor. They could still do their favoritism, but like other teams are going to get into, which is going to be nice.
Yeah, and then you'd be looking down here at like this probably 12 to 16, 17. So you'd be like arguing like as I use this terrible Clemson team going to get in over a one loss North Carolina or one loss Tulane. Like this Texas at 3 losses deserve to be in there. Like it'd be very interesting.
It makes
Can't
the bottom of the top 25 like
way better.
important.
Like you can start out 25 of the season or not even ranked and still climb up in there. Like it's nice.
Well, I feel like the best teams are gonna get in. You know what I mean? There's no way you
Yeah.
could keep like the best teams out at that point.
And like the way you automatically win your conference, you're automatically in. Don't matter what your fucking record is. You could be 5-5. Cool. You're a conference champ. Have fun. Maybe they could pull something out. Anything.
I think it'd be cool, you know, just to have like a random terrible conference champ like in the playoffs, and maybe they pull off like
to
this like
fucking just
upset of the
upset
year.
somebody. That should be hilarious. Or like Tulane gets in there and just knocks off like Georgia or something like that. The world would be on fire. It'd be a riot. Absolute riot.
Oh, it would be amazing. It'd be like college basketball, you know, just like a random loss, just complete chaos, people losing their shit, losing money, like
yeah, number 1 seed goes down first game, like hell yeah.
All of the bets on like a 12 team playoff too, like just the amount of money that's going to be laid down for those games. Imagine like getting all like of those games right or something.
I think it's a little more doable in a 12 team format compared to the March Madness.
Nobody's ever got a perfect bracket, I'm pretty sure. Like I'm pretty sure it's never happened.
It's almost statistically impossible.
This is like a little bit more easy.
Yeah, football is a little more black and white. College basketball is hard because like you could have a bad game. Like you could be the guy on your team, like a Kentucky. You got one guy and he has a bad game. And the other team they're playing are locked in. They're gonna lose, and it happens all the time.
And also, like as like college football, like the top teams, you just get like first off, it's less teams, and you probably watched all 12 teams. Like in college basketball, there's no way you've watched every single one of the teams in the tournament play. Like I barely watch college basketball at all, like throughout the regular season. So yeah, I've watched every single team in this top 25 at least once. I'm pretty sure, except for I don't think I've watched UCF.
Let's see. I've watched.
Because I know I watched Tulane. I've watched
North Carolina's first game. I haven't watched Tulane. I haven't watched Liberty.
Oh, I haven't watched Liberty yet.
I haven't watched Illinois or UCF or Washington, but everybody else I've watched at least one game that they've all played. And then over here I've watched Kentucky. That's the other one. See down here I've watched
Forest,
OSU,
Baylor,
Kansas, Mississippi State,
South Carolina. I watched
Louisville,
Oregon State. I think I watched a little bit of when they were playing USC. Maybe I actually haven't watched any FCS, but
I've watched 2 Jackson State games.
How are they not ranked 1? Like I feel like
I talked about that the other day. Like how is like North Dakota State with 2 losses above them? Like it just doesn't make sense.
I think we looked at it though, and their 2 losses were like against like a D1.
Yeah.
Still.
Actually, I think we're gonna change our channel. We're gonna talk about Division III college football. So we're gonna change it up.
Be very niche, you know, like the Division III guys be like, yes, finally somebody's giving us attention.
I don't know any of these teams. Oh, there's
Uh,
Johns Hopkins. I've heard of Albion. That's it.
there's no like.
Ithaca sounds kind of familiar.
I was like, I
Yeah,
wonder if there's any like really small like Oklahoma college in there, like
I don't even know how you would watch these
UCO.
games. Like,
Probably like a live stream on the school's website or something.
somebody on the sidelines with a recorder.
Facebook
Yeah,
page. Go to our Facebook page and watch the game.
we're recording it illegally. Like we got hot seat coaches up.
Oh yeah, Nick Saban for sure. No, fuck you.
I was like, really? I
No,
was like, we just talked about this.
I actually don't. Besides Jimbo, I really don't have anybody, and they're not gonna fire him. Um, Nobody else I care about. At least I'm sure there's shitty coaches out there, but
I got three.
yeah.
I got Jimbo. He's staying on there. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's got one more year max, I think, and then he's done. Like I think
he should be fired at the end of this year. They just can't.
I think what next year if he doesn't go this year, I think they would just take the hit and he's gone. I got David Shaw for Stanford. They're having a real rough season. I don't know what the fuck they got going on over there. Stanford's also one of those academic schools. It's very hard to get good players in there if they can't, have the grades.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I get it, but I think if I was him, I would go somewhere else.
for sure.
That's a tough team to recruit for and to compete with. But they have done it, like when they had Andrew Luck. But Andrew Luck is a fucking like an engineer, and he was also one of the better quarterbacks of all time. So, are you gonna sit around and wait for one of those to come along, or you just gonna keep getting your ass handed to you?
See, if I'm David Shaw, like he's done, like he's had some good seasons at Stanford. He's had a good time there. It's time for him to move on, whether that's to the NFL to be like a coordinator, or if it's just to a completely different school. That's up to him. I think it's just best for both parties
I
at
think
this
he could
point to
do okay at
separate.
Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd do all right.
Nebraska, fucking, I would just leave. Stanford's a terrible conference, and it's a tough team.
Yeah.
So I'd peace out. And their mascot's stupid. It's a fucking tree.
Yeah.
And then I got Mario Cristobal for Miami.
I think it's too early.
I still think they're very very bad this year, and they have no answer for how to make that team better currently. So, yeah, I don't think he will get fired, but he's there.
Depends on how patient Miami wants to be. If I'm Miami, I'm being patient because like you guys are the same thing as Auburn. Like you guys really aren't worthy of like this impatience. Like you guys are not that good. You guys haven't been good since the early 2000s.
Yep, absolutely.
You
might as well just write it out.
Miami sucks. Like Miami is one of those teams. I don't know if they'll ever be good again. That's extreme, but like I feel like it's gonna be years.
I hope not. I like it when they suck. It's great.
They're like Nebraska, Miami, like in Nebraska, like there's certain teams that you kind of know are just gonna get back up there that are like struggling a little bit
Eventually.
Like LSU's had a few down years, but LSU is gonna be back. Like OU, is gonna be back. Texas,
yeah, they just get too much talent to not be back. It's been the coaching issues for all those teams.
And then, but like Miami and Nebraska, those two, I'm like, I don't know if y'all can make it back. Like it's been too long. Like,
yeah, your brand is not what it once was. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but
I just can't see how Miami's not good. Because like first, if you're in Miami, the NIL opportunities for these players. And then you bring in Mario Cristobal. He did a great job at Oregon. Like I'm just like, what?
There's a big part of it is like they have no fucking fans. Like they don't have a stadium.
They play in the Dolphin Stadium, don't they?
Yeah, 30 minutes away from their campus. Like they have no home. Like they have no home. Like they have no fans. The fans don't go to their games. They'll have like if you ever watch a Miami game at home, it looks like the fucking like the Dolphins. Chargers and the Rams.
It's weird, yeah. I've seen a few.
It's terrible. I've seen interviews. All the Miami players would rather play on the road because there's fans. Like they don't like playing at home. So
like they'd rather play at like
They'd
in front
rather
of the
play
away
on
fans.
exactly because there's actual fans. Like that's pathetic. So they got to fix that. They really got to fix that. They need their own stadium on the campus. Might change them up, change things a little bit. Probably not. That's a good start though. And I think they are getting a stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a good start. They got a good coach. They have no quarterback this year, so that's a big thing. Their defense is good.
So you got a coach, you got a historic brand, you got a big city, you got NIL opportunities out the ass, but like for some reason y'all are terrible. It's just weird.
Yeah, this might be their last year of being bad. I think they'll be trending up. Unfortunately,
I mean, I think it'd be good for college football. It's kind of like, I hate to see Texas, but it'd be
yeah.
cool. Like for Miami, like I don't really have anything against them. I don't think they're like the most exciting team. Like they don't really get me excited. Like, oh, I can't wait to watch Miami. Like,
I can't wait to watch Miami lose. I'd be
but
happy if they're never good again. I do not like them. Fuck Miami.
I just find them boring. But that might be because they suck. They've sucked for so long.
Yeah, they do have cool uniforms. I'll give them that. I kind of like their uniforms sometimes.
The Hurricanes, kind of in poor taste. Like thinking about it, like
It's a cool mascot too. I mean, I guess. I get it, but whatever. All right. Last topic. Comeback performance of the week. I got Kansas. Coming off a big loss last week and then shitting on OSU. I mean, yeah, OSU's not good now for some reason, and they also didn't have Spencer Sanders, but yeah, they're back up. Old fucking G Wrangle, Garrett Wrangler.
Man, that guy didn't play good at all.
No,
I mean, 300 yards is cool.
He played
like,
good outside of that. That's what lost them the game. And they didn't really run the ball very well. This dude went fucking nuts.
I was gonna put him at player of the week.
Andy had 110 receiving yards. Holy shit!
Yeah, he's gonna be my player of the week before I looked at Mordecai's like stats.
I maybe could have put him over Bo Nix. That guy carried hard. Yeah, that's 4 turnovers right there is just not gonna do it for you. Kansas, they came off of who did they lose to last week? Was it Texas?
Yeah, I think so.
No, it was Baylor.
Baylor.
Yeah, they had a 3-game losing streak, and they come in this game and upset Oklahoma State. So that's a comeback performance if I've ever seen one. Kind of seen it coming with how bad OSU's been playing.
I didn't think they're gonna beat them as bad as they did, but I also didn't know Spencer Sanders was gonna be out until like the game started. But even then, I mean, you got to think Oklahoma State would at least have, the talent to stop them on defense and run the ball, but they don't. Like this is a team that I feel like that's Oklahoma State's. Like we've been talking a lot on this episode about like teams that can't recruit good players because nobody wants to go to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Like nobody wants to do it. Like
unless you're from Oklahoma or like Northern Texas.
Like if you're really into football, like Oklahoma State is a good team, like well coached. You could be on a well coached team by Mike Gundy, and he always has a good staff in. He's had a couple of assistants move on and do really good things. I think the head coach of Houston that was at one point the offense coordinator at Oklahoma State, but. They just can't. They cannot get the talent. Like they can't get. Nobody wants to go to Oklahoma State. Their top recruit flipped. I can't remember where he went to, but he decommitted.
Yeah, I'd see it. I think Kansas, if they still had Jalen Daniels, they could be undefeated.
He's I believe he's available next week.
Is he a senior?
I don't know. Probably with Kansas' luck.
That sucks. Because if they could bring him back next year, they could be a really good team.
I wish he could get like a medical red shirt or something.
That should be if you miss like at least half the season, you should be able to like a red shirt. But then like you can only do it once. Like if you get hurt the next year, then sorry, but
like you're not playing until you're 30, man. Like
I mean, their backup Jason Bean, like ever since he's came in, they've played really well. He's played really well. It's not like he's bad.
Not bad.
So I mean, maybe they could be good next year with him, or they want to try to bring somebody in. I wouldn't be opposed to going to Kansas if I was like a transfer, like seeing how well they did this year.
Kansas is so weird. like how terrible they were to where they are now.
Yeah,
And then I don't know if you remember the whole Les Miles thing, where Les Miles is the head coach at Kansas for like a year,
I do
and
remember
then
that. I was
he
like, all
got
right,
fired.
Kansas. I was like, Kansas is gonna be back. Nope.
Weird,
Wild.
just a weird. Kansas has just been on a weird trajectory, but now they're on their way up. I think the
Uh,
Big 12 is going to be like an even more of like a just everybody killing each other
everybody,
off.
yeah, 100%. It's gonna suck.
Because
I
plus
would hate to
they're
be.
adding four more teams like to the chaos,
I would hate to be a Big 12 team. I'm like, fuck, man.
and we're in it next year, like with the new teams, like because we can't get out for some reason.
It's gonna be a fucking gauntlet.
I'm like, I just want to go to the SEC. I think the SEC might actually be easier because all these teams in the Big 12 hate us. Like us in Texas, they're
They
like,
play. They're like you guys' Super Bowl. They play you guys so hard.
let's give them a good gift on the way out. Like they
Yeah,
all
we.
have that mentality. Like
What you guys lose every game next year because everybody plays you fucking so hard? That would
they're,
be like, I'd be so mad.
they're pulling out every trick in the book to beat us in Texas.
They hit you with the flea flickers, Ponderuski, fake puns, and like every week. You might the fucking nobody kicks off kickoffs. It's all fucking onside kicks every time.
At least in the SEC, they're gonna be like, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, like we're used to it. Like we play Bama all the time. This ain't shit. Like
Yeah, you're
they
just
might they might underestimate us. Honestly,
yeah, maybe that'd be a mistake though. Wild. Did you have any other a different comeback performance of the week?
Penn State against Indiana, they looked really good. Coming off the Ohio State loss, Penn State, they're just like they're not good enough, but they're good.
We talk about Penn State almost every week. I'm tired of talking about Penn State.
Yeah, I didn't want to put this on here just because like I feel like we talk about Penn State every week, but I mean they came. I feel like this is probably like the second time they've won my comeback performance.
Is it who the fuck have they lost to and they won? It would have been Minnesota.
Yeah, actually, it was. I definitely have them at that game. Yeah,
I think that might be it. Jesus Christ.
I don't even really want to talk about Penn State that much, but I mean, yeah, they came back. Clifford still didn't look that good.
He's bad, bro. He's bad. We've said it. He's bad. He's not terrible, but he's just not good. He's like bad. He's like average bad.
This team is so just.
They're all over the place.
I want to watch them next year. They'll be more entertaining next year.
I really,
it might be worse. I
really don't want to watch Penn State at all until they actually show me something.
They're like yeah, they're not that good. Like they're so like they're good, but they're not good enough, and it's almost worse than them being bad. Like
if they would have won that Ohio State game, man, I'd have been like, all right, cool. But nope, fucking lost that one.
They're finally earning my respect, and then they blow it.
They did. They completely blew it in the fourth quarter. All you had to do is hang on. Fuck no. Sellouts.
Yeah. Is that our last
Yeah, that's it. Unless you got anything else.
I mean, we could maybe take a look at some of the
week?
matchups next week, see what's going on there.
Yeah, I have not looked at next week at all.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. So I'm kind of just I'm sure there's some good matchups.
Okay. This game's on Tuesday. What the fuck? And Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. What is this week? LSU Arkansas could be interesting.
Absolutely.
Notre Dame Navy, I think, will be a good game.
I actually watched it. No, I don't know. Who did Air Force play this weekend? I think it was Army.
Yeah, we beat them.
I watched that game, or watched part of that game.
Yeah, this is like a historic game. I don't think it'll be like great. I think Notre Dame will win, but there's history there.
Yeah, I mean those military teams, like they don't really get those big guys you need. And so that's kind of
because they can't.
They can't, yeah, because like
you can't,
yeah,
with the weight thing. So
I mean, if they had like somehow made a loophole to where they could get bigger athletes, I think they could actually be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially Army. They're kind of like the up and up one lately.
Yeah. Louisville Clemson. I think this would be a good game. I
I
think
think Louisville
Louisville
wins.
could
Yeah,
do it. The only bad thing is they are in Clemson, so shitty.
watch
Michigan,
Nebraska upset.
Alabama, Ole Miss is looking like the best matchup of the weekend.
Ooh, I think Ole Miss wins that one. Actually, no,
Uh,
I think Bama wins that one. I
no,
take that back. I take that back really quickly.
I'm not pressing my luck for 3 Bama losses. Bama's winning that one.
I don't even at this point. I don't even care if they lose anymore. Like, fine, like it's cool. Two, I'm happy with two. I'm not greedy.
Tulane UCF. Oh, I know a lot of people are mad that game day wasn't going there.
Where's game day this week?
It might be Bama Ole Miss. Let's
It's on
see.
CBS. So it's probably
Yeah, it's a 2:30 game, so that's probably it. Let's see. Anything else? Georgia, Mississippi State could be interesting. Mississippi State's not that bad. Washington, Oregon. Washington's not that bad. K-State, Baylor. Baylor might win that one. Kansas Tech will be decent.
that's gonna be a good game. Like, there's no stakes to it though, but it's gonna be entertaining.
TCU, Texas.
That's where game day is. I just looked up. TCU,
Okay.
Texas. I think Texas wins. Yeah, I really do.
I think it'll be a good game regardless. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Syracuse got Florida State.
Could be interesting.
Yeah, UCLA, Arizona. Arizona's like not good, but I could see them maybe pulling an upset because they almost pulled one against USC.
Right.
I think UCLA is a little too disciplined for that to happen, but you never know.
Yeah, not a terrible weekend. Not as good as this one though. What
You know,
about
I'm not too mad about it.
you know what? We're not gonna look at 12. We'll just wait for next week.
Yeah,
Get ahead of myself.
I'm pretty excited for this week, and there's at least something in each time slot to keep me entertained.
For sure. I don't know the shitty games I might just not watch.
So at 11, I'm watching like OU, West Virginia. It's not like, it's not a great like game matchup, but it's my team. And then like the rest of the way, I'm probably watching Ole Miss and Bama for sure.
See, in the 11 time slot, what game am I going? Might watch the Notre Dame Navy game. I'll probably check into the OU game because West Virginia is not a bad team, so it could be an interesting matchup. And then 2:00, I'm watching Clemson, Louisville.
Yeah,
and then waiting for that game to start. And I'm flipping between those two.
I'm watching. I'm probably just like exclusively watching Bama, Ole Miss.
And then 4:00, nothing.
The 6:00. I'm watching Texas TCU. There's a lot of games actually. I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm watching this one, and then once we come on, I'm flipping. So I got 4 games.
I'm watching A&M and Auburn just to see if A&M loses again. I've been watching like A&M games just to watch them lose.
Hey, Auburn could do it. I think they could do it. So at the evening schedule is where all the good stuff is. If you consider all those games good.
Well, I think TCU Texas is like, it has the most playoff implications of all the games this week. So that's kind of, I see why game day is there.
Texas beats TCU. They're kind of pushing into the conversation and getting back in there. Unfortunately, with 3 losses. It'd be weird. Well, because TCU, if they're sitting at 4, like that's the top 4 team.
Yeah.
But yeah, where did I can't remember. Clemson lost. Where did they put? Yeah, they put a non-ranked Notre Dame team at 20.
Yeah, and then we'll find out where they really are tomorrow.
And then Texas at 18 if they beat them. I don't see them going above 12 realistically, but we'll see. Wouldn't be surprised if they put them at like 5.
I could see like Texas finishing like rank 8 if they won out. Like something crazy. Like I don't see them making the playoffs, but I could see them like sitting way too close to it than they should be.
If Texas makes the playoff, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
No, that's like that's almost as rigged as the COVID year. If Texas makes the playoff, it'd just be stupid.
Or all the teams up in the top would have to like start losing. Like every team that plays right now, because none of them are playing each other. So they would all have to drop a game this week against some random team. And then they start beating each other.
I feel like there'd have to be multiple 2-loss teams. Like Like that whole top four would have to be like 2 losses, and then like it'd be like, do we put a 3-loss Texas over a 2-loss like team? That's where it'd have to get to.
Exactly. It'd be weird. All right. Well, I got nothing.
Yeah, I think that's the end of this episode. We'll catch y'all next week. So
Roll Tide. Kids